welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Okay. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the final episode here of the Star Wars Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 8, our CranKy Ducklings review. I'm, of course, just IVIP. With me, I'm joined by the one, the only, the Copa, who I know is very, very happy to be here.
I am so happy. I'm so happy. The show is over. I'm so happy.
We made it. We made it.
I made it to the end of the first season of this show. I am just so good.
Oh my god. Yes, this was the season finale of Ahsoka Season 1. We literally just finished watching it. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. No, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord was the title of the episode. Oh boy.
Where do you want to begin?
Oh my god. So we made it. We made it. It's hard to say. It's hard to say where to begin. Whether it's begin in the beginning or whether to say my thoughts coming into this, actually. So we said something at the end of the previous episode where it was kind of weird as to where the story was kind of leading us. We didn't really know where it was going to go. We had some predictions as to how things would transpire. I was a little bit confused, just because it felt like Baylan was like out of the picture, and I was confused because I was like, there's probably going to be a big fight, but I didn't know what the fight was going to be if there's no Baylan to fight Ahsoka, like when it comes to like a lightsaber fight. And it looks like Thrawn isn't really the actor that's playing Thrawn isn't really a fighter either, so I was a little bit confused as to where things would go. We found out where things went, by the way, and and I guess they kind of fixed that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's literally at the end of the episode.
We'll get to that eventually, but that's just those are my thoughts coming into the episode itself. Yeah, I think I would say that this episode was shocking. I was in awe multiple times as to the decisions that were made, as to how they addressed certain things.
See, you were shocked. I was just sitting here and like my eyes were just rolling constantly to the point I was like almost falling over my chair.
I was shocked that the writing was as bad as it was, considering how much money there is behind this.
For a finale. For a finale,
sure,
important.
But
this
like
is the finale of the show.
Sure, but like in general, like the thing about Star Wars is that you have to grade it in a different way, just because there's so much behind it when it comes to the production value, when it comes to how much money they're throwing at the IP, and especially this show compared to some of the others, when it comes to just how much funding is put behind the Ahsoka show compared to like the Obi-Wan show, even Mandalorian Season 1. So you would expect them to put their best foot forward here, especially Dave Filoni, who, like, you know, his baby is Ahsoka. But I would say I think I stand by it now, and of course we're gonna get into the episode itself. But I think that this is probably the worst written show that we've watched when it comes to one Star Wars. Like now I can say that with confidence. Like before, like I said, like it's probably worse than Obi-Wan. Now I think it is straight up worse than Obi-Wan. Like I think, yeah,
as funny as it is to me, I think I'm willing to agree with you that it's worse than Obi-Wan. And I didn't think I would say that because Obi-Wan was not good.
Yeah. I mean we can compare it later, but the thing is that Obi-Wan had good parts to it. Like there were some issues with it for sure.
True.
I think we spoke about it last time that like the issues that you can have with the Obi-Wan show are there, but like I think that the character of Obi-Wan was treated well, or the character made sense when it comes to their decision making, when it came to their approach, when it came to how was like I think the character of Obi-Wan was written well. Yes, there are other things.
The character itself made sense, and there were some nice moments, like even between him and Leia, like there were some like actually nice moments. So it had some good parts.
Exactly. Like I think they treated Obi-Wan better in the Obi-Wan show than they treated any character here in the Ahsoka show. Like that's what was shocking to me.
And that includes the villains, actually.
Like that's what was shocking to me. Like I was shocked that they made these decisions. Like Yeah, and obviously, like, there are other shows that we're not watching, by the way. So, like, when we say that, like, this is the worst show that we've experienced so far, we didn't watch like Acolyte, or we didn't watch like Skeleton Crew, or
we're
like,
not watching Acolyte. By the way.
we're not watching Acolyte. We're not watching Skeleton Crew. There's other like Star Wars shows that we're not going to bother with, just because, like, why waste our time? So it's not really like there are other things that are catching our attention that we'd rather spend our time with. And one of the reasons why we watched this show was because it is a direct continuation to Rebels, and Rebels we did enjoy. Like, we did decide to watch Rebels. We did enjoy it for the most part. Had its issues, of course, with some of the seasons, but overall, as a whole, like, we enjoyed, like, the foundation, the characters themselves, and we wanted to, at least I wanted to, have Kuro's experience how they decided to treat these characters in a live action
I like
setting.
the way you put it. You wanted me to have the experience. Thank you. Thank you very much, Light, for bestowing this upon me.
Oh no! Oh god! And I'm still a little bit in shock as to how they decide to treat all of this and how they wrote it, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. All right, let's jump in.
I mean, I have nothing more to add without getting into the actual episode.
Let's go. Okay, so again, we're under the assumption that you have watched the episode yourself. We're just gonna go right into our breakdown of the episode and our dissection of it, and discussing certain decisions that were made regarding the episode itself. So again, this is the finale, the final episode here, and coming into the finale, not gonna lie, I said to myself, I was like, yo, there's like so much that they just did not address throughout the entirety of the show, and so much to just wrap up. Like, what are they gonna do? And then it felt like I saw the writers. They were like, yo, there's so much that we need to wrap up. There's so much that we need to address. Like, what are we gonna do? They just
put it in the scene. Just put it in the scene. The droid can say it. The droid can say it.
Speed run through everything. It is crazy. They I could already see it when we're discussing, when we're critiquing some of the decisions and the lack of addressing of certain plot points throughout the course of the season. And then you have someone who, like, watched the whole show and they're like, yo, they addressed it in the final episode. These clowns, like, what are they talking about? Then we get to the final episode and there's literally like one line talking about it, where they spend one line talking about Sabine's history with the Mandalorians, where he just like, bam, in one quick sentence, he's like, oh no, yeah, Sabine, like, she, like, everyone, like, there was a genocide that occurred on Mandalore, and everyone died, and that's actually why Ahsoka didn't want to train Sabine, because she thought that Sabine would want to get revenge for the death of her people. It's like, we really just said that in one little sentence, and we just move on, in the final episode. Like, it's like the writers forgot, like, oh, we got to put it in the very end, just very, very quickly, like, oh yeah, and they just move on.
Kuya can say it quickly. He can say it.
Well, the issue is that they remembered that their character has some backstory, so then they quickly address it, then they move on, and it has no consequence.
Yeah,
it didn't even matter.
I thought that, like, when like Huyang said that, like, it was already weird that it was like a line, but it seemed like Ezra realized what happened, and I thought he was gonna, like, talk to Sabine about it or something. But then we just moved on. Next scene.
Yeah, well,
keep going.
The issue with that scene, it feels very inserted, because that scene, if that scene wasn't there, nothing in the episode would change. It had no impact. It had no consequence, and not like it had, like, it felt like it was inserted because they forgot about it and they wanted to address it. So they just they call in the actor for Ezra, and they call in, like, the voice actor on Zoom or something, so they can record his lines for the robot. You think
they would actually do that?
Yeah, and they're like, hey, like, we wrapped up the episode, like, we actually decided we forgot about, apparently, Sabine. Actually, the intern told us that Sabine apparently is a Mandalorian. Like, we didn't know, actually. We didn't know she was.
We just got the armor of Ethan.
Yeah, the intern has been really, really, really persistent, and you know what? We're gonna give him a bone. He said that Sabine's a Mandalorian. We looked it up on Wikipedia, and I think she is a Mandalorian, actually. So we're gonna talk about the fact that apparently her family died, and I need you to address this come in for a day. We'll record it, like, in like 4 hours or something, and then we'll like insert it later. We actually finished, like, editing and recording the entire rest of the season, but, like, we need this one scene. It's like, okay, cool. He showed up. like I
don't think they would go that far, but that is a very
no. I think so. Because again, especially because because Sabine wasn't even like there. As in, if you remember, like she was always off screen, like she was in the hallway, like listening or watching and stuff. So like that totally could have been recorded separately. Like they were not. Like I would not be surprised if they were not in the same like location together.
Okay.
But we're jumping ahead. We're but like that's just an example of how lazy the writing was. That's what there was so much lazy writing here, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I think that was the most glaring one. That was specifically was the most glaring because we said that like that would be the entire arc of the entire season to go through that.
Yeah,
and instead it just gets a single line from a side character, not even involving the characters this is about.
That has no consequence and that has no meaning.
Yeah,
and that has nothing.
And has no consequence.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I mean. That's why it feels like it was inserted afterwards. Because if they'd realized the impact of what that was, then they would have paid more attention to it. They would have given more time to breathe and more attention in the show. But they didn't, because they forgot. They straight up forgot. Someone reminded them at the very end. I'm telling you, the intern told them. He was like, "Yo, guys, like, she's the Mandalorian, right?"
And
like,
again, and specifically, see, the more I think about it, the more this specific thing bothers me, because not only we had that moment, that like, moment of peace and quiet, where like they were at the village, and it will be a good moment for her to talk about it. But also, I feel like of all the people, I feel like Ezra would be the most understanding, because he himself is an orphan.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like that's why I'm saying that if the writers knew that she was a Mandalorian, if the writers knew that her parents died in the time skip, then they would have addressed it earlier. And they would have addressed it during that time when they were in the village together, when they were talking together, right? Like that, like if again, unironically, if they knew, then they would have done it sooner. But they didn't know. So they didn't do it sooner. They just got reminded at the very end. It's just, otherwise, why even bring it up, right? At this point, like, why even address it? Because they got reminded of it. It's like, shit. I guess we probably got to address that actually now. We kind of messed up. Don't worry about it. Just move on. So yeah. Anyway, so the episode begins. The episode begins with Old Mate Thrawn, alongside.
Old Mate, yeah. Old Mate Thrawn.
Old Mate Thrawn with Old Mate Moth Espa and
Betty. She's Betty.
Yeah, and the Witches of Dathomir. So it begins with. So I spoke my assumptions coming into this, how I was kind of weirded out by like where this. Who was going to be the big bad and what was going to be the final fight? Apparently, there's going to be Morgan, where she like sacrificed herself for like power, and she got like an imbued sword, and they did this ritual. It felt really weird and really out of left field, just because there was so much that was weird about it. So. We just spoke about lazy writing and reminding you of things. They did it with Morgan in the very beginning of the episode. That's why I was like shocked in the beginning. And if you remember, they have that line where they're agreeing that she's gonna like go in and she's gonna like receive their gift, and they're telling her that she has to like relinquish who she is and all this stuff and what she is. And I think Thrawn, like he whispers to her like, for the Empire, and then she like looks away and like under her breath she's like, for Dathomir.
For Dathomir.
Yeah, and like that's the one line that you get the feeling that she's doing it for another reason other than the Empire, and that's it. That's the only thing in the entire season that you get the feeling in this show that she has other like intentions or other conclusions or like other goals, right? Where that's like, oh, like I guess maybe she like wants to like bring back her people, or maybe she like has this loyalty to other people, not to the Empire, not even to Thrawn, which is what shocked me.
That's the thing.
But like that was literally the only thing, and then they just move on, and then they just kill her off anyway. Like like that, like but again, in the finale, in the last episode, like just like with Morgan, it's like the intern. You shout out to the intern. He was like doing laps, like running to everyone. He was like, guys, did you know that she's a witch? They're like, oh, what? What are you? Hold on, let me just quickly look this up on Wikipedia. Like, is she? Oh, she's a witch,
no.
guys. Oh my god, that's crazy.
No.
You know what? We should maybe like give her a line. Like, we'll say for Dathomir. Oh yeah, okay. We'll do this line. It'll be a close up as well, so we don't actually have to have any of the other actors come in. Say, hey, Mothespa, come in for like an hour.
Why do you keep calling him
we'll do a zoom we'll do a zoom in on your face, and then you have this one line that was never originally recorded, but the intern just reminded us that apparently you're a witch from Dathomir, so we're going to record this one line. Okay, we'll put all the makeup. It'll take you longer to put the makeup on than it would to actually record the line.
Listen, they like, hold up, we just watched the animated show, and apparently you are from Dathomir.
They did not watch the animated show. They did not watch it.
No, I mean the Tales of the Empire.
They did not watch the Tales of the Empire. No, the intern did. The intern watched Tales of the Empire. That's when he realized. He was like, "Holy, I gotta get them on the phone. I gotta call the writers. They don't know what they're doing."
But on a serious note,
no, I'm serious.
You say that you are serious. I was gonna say
I'm serious about this. Unironically, yes. Okay.
So what that scene tells us, that together with how the witches behave, with how Thrawn behaves, with again the cargo that we now theorize,
the dead bodies,
maybe coffins.
We assumed like, last episode that there were dead bodies. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Ventress is in there. Yeah, she's.
No, Ventress is somewhere else. Ventress has her own adventures.
Yeah.
But
she's in a different coffin.
Yes, but this means one of two things. Okay. Either Thrawn is legit working with the witches to bring back whatever the witches or take over something, but they are legit working together, and that is ridiculous considering that the witches were literally killed by the Empire, right? Was it Empire that destroyed the witches?
Yes, we spoke about this last episode. We spoke about the fact that the Empire had them killed.
That is ridiculous that they would now legit help the Empire and like work with the Empire. Or option number 2, they are not actually genuinely working with the Empire. They are actually like playing Thrawn and just kind of using him for their own goals. But that would imply that Thrawn is not as smart as we thought he is, which would be bad for his character.
Well, the problem is with that theory is that if that was true, then they wouldn't. Then Morgan wouldn't have died. As in, like so. The issue here, and they did have that line where if you remember the mothers later on, they say like, they mentioned the alliance, like they said that like they say that like, do this alliance, like we're with you or something like that. Like they say the line alliance when they're together in the ship. So of course that confirms that they're working
alliance, together. But they also call him Lord and like bow.
I was about to say that. Like again, unironically. This is the first this is why I said it's lazy writing and they're like sped through everything, because this was the first kind of like little tidbit that we get the idea that they're supposed to be working together. But the problem is that at no point prior to this did you get that feeling, right? You got the feeling they would serve, and even in this episode you got the feeling they were serving him. To me, because of that contradiction, and again, this happens a lot in Final Fantasy XIV, it feels like there was a disconnect between the writer's decision where they had like filmed and recorded and done everything first, and then at the very end, they're like, oh, we want this to be like them working together, not them serving him, so let's put this one line in. And that's it. Like, so they put the one line in. As in, like, the reason there's a disconnect is because up until that moment, even the writers didn't know that they're working together. And then at the very end, they decided that they're working together. Like, unironically, that's usually how this works. Where they just didn't think ahead. They didn't have a plan as to how they wanted this dynamic to work until the very end, where they're like, oh fuck, like we're on the final episode. Where did that come from? What's going on? And then they quickly decide that they wanted them to have like an alliance. So then they say that instead of showing it, because as you said, at no point in this show did it ever seem like they're partners or equals in any way. But they say that at the very end, they verbalize it to be like, no, yeah, really, that's what this has been the entire time, even though they failed to like cinematically show it to the viewer and express that to the viewer in any way, shape, or form. Like that's why it's like it's just really lazy writing, because they just say, they don't show.
Yeah, because I said that like I can definitely see that happening as an alliance, and that would be a very interesting like plot line, in the sense that like the mothers work with From because they recognize like, you know, his skills, his intellect, and so on, and he works with the mothers because he recognizes like their power in different things, and like they kind of treating themselves as equals, and like are entering an arrangement because it's beneficial to both of them, but like it's like on terms of equals because they are both like powers in different regard. But here they constantly like behave like they are his servants, like they are all, it's not like an alliance, it's more like he hired them. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is, and that's what it because that's what it was. Like it, you feel that way because that was the original intention. Again, they just changed their mind at the end. Like that's what's happening here, is that they what you're saying is what they were showing you, and you feel that way because that was the intention, and then at the very end they change their intention, but it's jarring because it doesn't mesh with what they've done prior in the show itself, and so that's why there's like it just doesn't really connect towards the end. It's because the writers, they changed their mind.
It's just weird because they contradict themselves in that way.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I know.
either they are equals or they're not. Like you can't have it both ways. Like you can. Don't get me wrong. Like they can still be very like respectful because you want to make them like this like ancient people. So like they can behave very respectfully towards a person, but they wouldn't be like, oh, how may I serve kind of thing. You know, like they shouldn't behave like servants.
Yeah, no, but they should if they were serving him. That's what I'm telling you, is that that was the plan.
See, my problem is like I don't think like it bothers me in the first place that Throne would have servants that deal with
I agree.
witchcraft.
Yeah, it's just all bad. Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to be constructive.
Yeah. I know. Like it's sorry. Like, we should say that the way that they were originally being portrayed was a negative thing, because again, it's better if they work together and they're partners. Yes. And again, the writers, they got there in the end. You know, they watched our review. They're like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, but like that's what I'm saying, is that they eventually in their minds they got to that conclusion where it's like, actually it would be better if they were equals, and if there was a partnership here, and if they were working together. That's actually pretty. Yo, intern Steve, that's a good idea. That's good. We'll do that then, I guess. And then he's like, what, didn't you already like set up that that's not the dynamic, the relationship that they have? Like, no, Steve, you're an intern, you're not getting paid. Like, what are you? Shut the fuck up, okay? We're doing what we want. And then they just insert this line. And what quote unquote saves them is that now in season 2, now they can run with that line, and then they can actually change their dynamic, and they can actually have them have more like this partnership thing going on coming into season 2, and they hope that whoever is watching forgets about how they portrayed the characters in season 1.
Yeah, I just hope that if they get to that in season 2, that it will be a partnership, and not that they're like scamming Thrawn essentially.
Yeah,
and it's gonna like turn against him.
Yeah. We'll see. They might change their mind again. It's possible. Like, we don't know. They might change their mind again coming to season 2, and they're like, actually, you know what? It is a really good idea that they're partners and they're on more equal terms and they have their own agendas, but they could just be servants.
Imagine if they were servants and they were nice to him because they wanted to backstab him. That's the only reason.
No, we can't backstab Thrawn. It's Thrawn.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what it looks like right now. That's the feeling I get, that either that this is not what they think it is, or they're trying to backstab him. I don't understand.
Okay, winding all the way back here though, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. We got all the way back to Morgan. Okay, so Morgan, she steps up. She decides to sacrifice herself to be imbued with like dark magic, and to get like a fancy katana sword. So
it's not a katana.
It's not.
Do not insult a katana.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they call it a katana.
Just a sword.
They just don't even know.
No, it's just a sword.
No, I mean, you said. Like, I'm sure there's an article on Wikipedia about what it is. Okay,
it's called Sword of Talos or something.
Yeah.
They said the name.
So this this goes into the unfortunate way that they use the character of Morgan. So winding it back, if you remember, I mentioned how they quickly insert that line about the Dathomir line, and all that does to me is it just confirms our thoughts. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe Tales of the Empire came out after this, right? This came out first, and then they released Tales of the Empire, which expands on her backstory. And this one line now kind of led into what they decided to do in Tales of the Empire, which is they show her backstory, they show her on Dathomir, they show her family be killed, and she survives, she leaves, and then she ends up gaining power herself and joining the Empire. The issue here is that if you remember in Tales of the Empire, I mentioned how it feels like the way that they were setting up the character was that she had her own agenda, and that the only reason why she was working for the Empire was so that she could get better standing, so that eventually she can get her revenge because the Empire killed her people, right? Like it's like the long con where she's willing to work with them just to gain power. And
basically, because she lost everything, like the only thing she has is revenge.
Yeah, that was the narrative that they were setting up, and then chronologically, that then leads into the Mandalorian show, and then you find out that didn't happen. You find out that she, I guess, worked for Thrawn. She helped them make ships. She got good standing in the Empire. The Empire fell. She went back to her planet. She just ruled the planet, and she just stayed there ruling the planet for a while, being like an overlord, a warlord that was treating her people.
Yeah, she was an just a Zerg overlord.
Yeah, in a poor way, and she eventually gets overthrown by Ahsoka, and she gets put in jail. So they didn't do anything with the character, and we said this at the time, that in the Mandalorian show there was no indication that she could use any kind of magic or any kind of force ability or anything like that, because she was just a fighter, and she just got beaten, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Then they decided to delve into that character once again by having her by freeing her, and in this show, right, she was freed at the beginning of the season, and apparently she has these ambitions to find Thrawn, to rescue Thrawn, and to return him to power for the Empire. And again, they just abandon any kind of idea that she would be doing things for her people. Instead, they make her like a subordinate to Thrawn, which was boring, which is what we mentioned, which is they're taking away from what could have been interesting about the character. Then here at the very end, they like give you a little tease that maybe there was something interesting here, but they never did anything with it, and then they just waste the character, and that's what she feels like to me. She feels like a wasted character. Feels like they were like teasing maybe something interesting about the character itself, but they did nothing with her. They did nothing with her, and then they devolved her into just like a sword wielding fighter, instead of actually having her be more interesting with like using some like witches like magics. And if you remember, we spoke earlier how it'd be interesting if she was using the spell binding stuff on weapons and stuff, but she didn't. She was given that sword. She didn't make it herself. She didn't use any force like magics herself to conjure the weapon or to imbue herself with power. She was given that instead, which takes away from the character even more. Like we spoke about that last episode with Hera, where it takes away from the character. She gets bailed out by Leia in the courtroom scene. Here it's similar, where it for me, it takes away from this character. She gets bailed out by the other witches when they just give her power. They give her power, they give her a sword, instead of her earning that or making that herself. Then it just makes less of the character, and it's worse off for the character of Morgan. That's what I was shocked about. I was shocked that they chose to do that to the character they made themselves.
Speaking of that, what do you think about making this big moment of her, like, oh, you have to sacrifice your life, you have to sacrifice your identity, and you will get the power, and then she gets the power and immediately gets killed off?
Yeah, it's this whole scene to me. So I alluded to it earlier. The writers, they found themselves in the final episode. They were like, oh fuck, this is the finale. oh shit, we have to have a lightsaber fight, but we don't have anyone that can use a lightsaber. Balin, we didn't even know where he went. We don't even, like, the writers don't even know. They're like, oh shit,
we don't know. He just got lost on the way.
He just where is he? Where they're like going through papers, and they're like, where did he go? I don't know. Like the intern took the page with Balin and took it home or something.
Oh no.
So they lost
He's
Balin.
writing fiction as we speak.
They lost Balin. They lost his granddaughter. I didn't even know her name. Like they lost the fuck. Where's the granddaughter's gone as well? Who do we have? Who do we? Thrawn isn't Thrawn a cat? It's like the interns, like you can hear in the background. He's like, hey, Thrawn's meant to be able to fight. They're like, what? Huh? Morgan? Like they're like, well, the actor that plays Thrawn can't fight, so what do we do? What if we just temporarily for this one episode suddenly give Morgan a lightsaber? We can't give her a lightsaber, that's kind of weird. We'll give her a sword, and we'll like put a spell on the sword, so it's basically a lightsaber, and then she can fight instead. It's like, was there any kind of build up to that, or was there any kind of like is there no other character that we can use, or do we even really have to have a fight like that? It's like, no, we have to have a lightsaber fight. Okay, we'll to Morgan. Yeah, we'll give her a sword. Like as in, it felt like a really rushed decision, that came out of nowhere, just to have a character fight Ahsoka with a sword, and that's it. And it's a shame just because they decided to use this character and waste this character in that way. But to me, it feels like this was a decision that they came up with on the fly just to have a lightsaber fight. Like that's it. That's all they wanted. And it feels disrespectful for the characters. It feels disrespectful to Ahsoka because she's fighting a no-name suddenly who can use a sword. It's also disrespectful to Morgan because there was so much more potential that they could have done with the character itself, and then they just devolve her into like a sword-wielding like zombie. Whereas even the fight itself, like if they really wanted Morgan to fight, like they it would have been so much cooler if she wasn't using a sword, or she had a little bit more of a dynamic tool set when it comes to her abilities as a witch, because she's supposed to be a witch, right? Like,
but I guess instead of as you said, instead of like giving her the sword and like sending you on a mission, like make it instead that they need more time and she just decides to go there and she just holds up her own, like, because of the skills that she has, instead of being given that.
They're if they what you're saying is that if they wanted her to die here, if they wanted her to be a part of that main fight, then there are better ways that they could have done it. And I do agree, like there are better ways and more interesting ways that they could have had her buy time for Thrawn and buy time for the ship, be willing to do that and give her a little bit more agency. I think that's the thing, is that what they did to her is that they took agency away from the character, right? Like, because they quote unquote killed her, right? Like what they said was that we're just going to strip you of your personality, of who you are and what you are, and we're just going to give you a sword and we're going to give you like some eye makeup. And it's like, and that takes away from the character, right? It's like, oh, okay, I guess she's dead now. Like like even before she's dead, I mean, like they just took her away.
I honestly didn't understand the point of that whole scene.
Yeah,
because if they strip her away of her history, her identity, and so on, then
what motivation would she have to even fight there, like for Thrawn, right?
Not even that. But like, what is her task then? Because her whole thing was her history with Thrawn, her history with the Empire, and she was helping the Empire for XYZ reasons, like regardless of what they are, but like that's what she was doing this entire time.
Yeah.
So if they strip her away of all of that, then why is she even helping Thrawn?
Yeah. It just
doesn't connect to me. Like, why would she still be listening to Thrawn's orders if they take away all of that history?
I think a better question is, what did that do?
Yeah.
As in, what did she gain? Like they didn't have but that was separate though. Like they could have just given her the sword.
They could have.
Like what changed?
She's supposedly more powerful.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? You're more powerful?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Like we didn't see any like evidence of her being powerful.
Exactly.
Like before or after. Like we have no comparison.
Like what they could have done. They could have something that would have made more sense. Is they're like, look, you're old, you're out of practice when it comes to our witchcraft. They can maybe like a Sabine, like kind of like mirroring there, where she hasn't been practicing her magic or anything like that. We're gonna imbue you with the power of 1,000 witches of like ancient like past and stuff, and then suddenly bam, you have like force abilities and you can do what we can do or something, and then she can use that in the fight or something. Like you can do whatever you want, but like what they did was Nothing. I should say, like,
They just
as I
said they just
mentioned.
said that she's powerful, but like we didn't see it.
Exactly. So all they did was just take away from the character, right? Like they just took away from what the character was and took away from the character is. And obviously what does she gain? She gained like a new visual look, I guess, that makes her look evil. I guess. Like they
Yeah,
just
but they only she got the visual look and then immediately, leaves the show. So why does it matter? Like, what? Again, I'm getting back to the point. Why does that scene matter if you immediately want to get rid of the character?
yeah.
Because this was supposed to be a big moment for her. That like after all her work, like this is like the culmination, and then the consequence is you're dead. And
Yeah.
like, then what's the point of power if you can't use it?
Well, I think the so meta wise, I think the reason why they did it straight. I think I know the reason why they did it is because they suddenly made the decision that she was going to be the final bad, right? She because she is at the end of this episode, like she was like the climactic fight is her versus Ahsoka. It didn't feel very climactic, but at the end of the day that's all they had. So the writers and the creators, they felt like, okay, if we suddenly have to use this actress and this character to be the final villain of the season and of the show, we haven't really built her up to be very impressive and very intimidating and very agile and very adept at fighting. We need to do something to the character in the show to make the viewer look to make the viewer feel like this character has suddenly become more threatening to the main protagonist, to make it to buy the fact that she would even be a threat and even be worthy of being the final big bad, even though she isn't. But meta wise, like the writers and the creators, they felt the need to do something to the character, even if nothing actually happened to the character, but like to have that scene, to have that visual change, have that visual look change as well, to sell the idea that suddenly, oh, like she's scary, she's stronger, like she's worthy of being the final villain of this show, even though she isn't. But like it's like their like lazy way of trying to achieve that goal of trying to amplify this character to be able to fill the role of a final villain of the season, even though they didn't build her up to be that.
And I see that, but like again, like from a viewer's point of view, like just watching this, like nothing has changed.
Yeah,
They
I know.
just
Yeah.
said, "Oh, you have more power," but like more of what? What did she have before that she has more of now? Because we didn't really
Nothing.
see her using much of power. Like we saw her like interact with objects, but we didn't really see her power in the fight. Like the only fight we've seen with her in the shows was with a spear.
Mhm.
So we saw her fighting with a spear, but like we didn't see anything like related to like the witchcraft or anything. So which like I don't know what it's supposed to change. So like it doesn't
No,
make her any more
it
threatening.
doesn't change anything because it was poorly done. But like that's like the cheapest, like laziest way to do it, is to
Yeah, but
have this ritual, to have that visual change,
mhm.
just so that they can imprint into the mind of a viewer that doesn't think too much about it, like a viewer that doesn't try to like analyze what's going on. Like bam, it's like, oh, she got stronger, okay, and then move on, and then she's like now she's like someone who's more threatening. Like that's all they want to do. Like they just want to implant that into the mind of the viewer and then move on. It's like a very
Mhm.
very easy,
But then
very
again,
lazy, very cheap, very surface level way of doing it. And as you're saying, like they didn't actually make her stronger. No, they didn't. No, they didn't, Kuro. They didn't. No, and they got away with it. Like that's what I mean. It's like they got
it's
away
more than like
with,
I don't know what it's
or
supposed to mean. Like as a viewer, just what like I don't know what it's supposed to mean, which is a
what
problem.
it's supposed to mean is like, look, this person is now stronger, even if they aren't. It's like it's what they're trying to imprint in your mind moving
Okay,
on
okay,
in the show. Yeah.
okay. But wouldn't it be better
Yes.
if A?
No, whatever you're gonna say.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you, thank
Yes.
you.
It would be. Yes.
But would it be better if
Yeah.
either A, she does not get imbued with power and she just goes and fights, and then that's when she pulls out like the sickest moves that we didn't
Yes.
know she had, and she just
Yes.
fights, and like turns out
Yes.
she's actually pretty good. But
Yes.
because but because she always had underlings to do her
Yes.
work, like she never had to show her skills.
Yes.
And it would be, it would be a bit like out of nowhere, but still fair enough. Like she has some
Yes.
skills. Or option number 2, and you kind of talked about this, where this happens after, as in like they know that the Jedi are coming, and Thrawn is like, yeah, we kind of need more time. It would be nice to have more time. And that's when she's like, well, I cannot fight 3 Jedi on my own. And that's when they imbued her with power, because that she actually needs a boost, and that's when she like agrees to lose like the sense of self, because she has this like singular mission.
I'll be honest. When the scene arrived, when she was on top of the tower and the three Jedi arrived, like Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka, I thought it was gonna be a 3v1. Like I when they showed,
we get to that.
I thought it was gonna be a 3v1. It wasn't, but that's what I thought it was gonna be, and I thought. Like this is me obviously not knowing where the story goes, but I thought it was gonna be a 3v1, and I thought it was gonna that was gonna be the scene where it shows us that she's like crazy strong now because of the imbued magics that she has, where she can take on all 3 of them at once. Obviously I didn't do that, but that's what I thought they were gonna do.
But I'm not even talking about that yet. I'm talking about just the fact that the chronology doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would they give her a gift of power? Because that's what it was. It was recognition for her achievements, basically.
That was before
before
she had to buy time.
Oh, you have to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like, if it would make more sense if either that never happened, or if it happened after she knows she has to fight the Jedi, so they give her the gift to to boost her to fight 3 Jedi at once.
See, Kurt, the writers don't understand like narrative, like construction and chronology. Like they don't understand that. They didn't learn that. They got taken out of school to write this show, so they didn't get up to that part.
Taken out by force.
Yes. They were dragged out of school just as they were about to learn about how to construct a narrative and construct a story and build up characters. They were just about to start that in their semester, in their term, but then they got dragged onto the show to write.
Oh, no.
And how could they say no? Like they got paid a bunch of money. I was like, oh sure, yeah, let's go.
A big part of Star Wars, pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh no. But I would okay. I didn't want to get straight to that part, but I will now say what bothers me about that scene, since you brought it up. When the 3 of them show up in front of Morgan, and I'm like, okay, so this is a 3v1, which is a bit unfair, but sure, we'll see how they figure that out. And I'm like, and Ahsoka is like, oh, you guys go, I will do this. And I'm like, okay. And then they just work. I'm like, isn't Morgan's entire task to delay the Jedi? Like, she's not even supposed to kill them.
Yeah.
Her entire task is to delay the Jedi, not Ahsoka specifically, to delay the Jedi.
Yeah.
And she just like stands there and lets her go. I thought the moment like when Ezra started like walking around her,
Yeah,
she's
he was gonna
like,
stop her, like stop him. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna like pull him with force or something, or like she's gonna and like that they go, but no, she just stands there and lets them go. I'm like, you had one job.
Well, it's because they filmed that scene first, and they didn't. She didn't know. She didn't know that she had to buy time.
Right.
She didn't know.
Right. It's because that's why.
True.
Because that's why.
It's because that's why. No, but ironically, there's a good chance that they filmed that first, and she didn't know. Morgan didn't know that she had to buy time. She didn't know. They filmed that scene after. They wrote that scene after, I should say.
But I'm trying to think here. Okay, I'm trying to use the brain.
Okay.
What reason would Morgan have to fight specifically Ahsoka and let the others through?
You can.
Like, is she personally upset about Ahsoka like jailing her?
You can write whatever the hell you want to make that fit. You can.
I know.
Maybe Thrawn specifically orders her to kill Ahsoka, and because
why not the others?
Because they're younger and inexperienced, and he feels more confident about them, and he feels like Ahsoka's a greater threat because she's like Anakin's like apprentice.
Why would he care?
Because that's why.
because
because he googled Anakin. And he found out all this information about him, if you remember. And he's like, like he was her master, and he was Darth Vader, and yeah. Yeah. Unironically, he did Google her in this show, and he found that out.
No, yeah, he did.
And he thought her to be more dangerous because of that as well. So you could just write it to that's why he would target her instead. They didn't. As in that didn't happen, but you could write it that would be the case.
Sure. That's what you say. Again, I was seriously waiting for Morgan to pull Ezra back and like put him back in place. Like you guys are not going.
No, I was waiting for it as well. Yeah, I was shocked. I told you there were a lot of moments in this show where I was in this episode where I was shocked that certain things were happening when they shouldn't be happening. Yeah. I was. Well, things weren't happening that should be happening. Like
there's no reason why she should let them through.
Yeah.
In that moment.
There is no reason.
Because she willingly let them through.
Yeah.
Like that was a choice.
Yeah, it was weird. Didn't make any sense. Yeah.
I guess to cap off the discussion on Morgan, I will mention, because I always make sure to like take some positive notes. Considering that this is the second fight we see of her, because she did, I think, had only 2.
Yeah.
No, sorry, there were 3 fights. The third one was in Tales of the Empire. This fight actually looked fine, like choreography-wise. Like I think it was actually interesting because she had some interesting moves. Like she wasn't just clashing swords. Like she actually had some choreography there, which like made her different to like say the Jedi fighting, which I think was interesting. I like that part. I like that they finally decided to do something with it. It's a shame that it's so late when they killed the character.
Sure. I would say that the choreography was nice. The fight overall, though, I did not like. Just because, as I mentioned before, just because if you have a character who supposedly is supposed to have a different and more unique skill set, then it would be really cool, and it would be better if we could actually see that skill set shown here, in the sense of her like casting spells or like using the Force in a different way, like seeing visually something that we haven't seen in live action Star Wars before. Like we've seen it in like animated shows that we have seen, but we haven't really seen it here in live action. So it would have been nice to have showcased it here.
Yes.
And this would have been the time to have done
more like interesting techniques and stuff. Like we even had an example of that where like when we first see the mothers, like they kind of like tie up Sabine, right, with their feet. Like that they have different tools.
Stuff like that.
It would be nice if she utilized them, but purely just looking at the choreography itself, I think it was actually interesting. It was different.
Yeah, and that's why I said that it feels like Morgan's like. I mean, she was a wasted character here. She was just in this show. She was just a wasted character. And it's weird that they decided to flesh out the character after she died in Tales of the Empire. It feels like maybe whoever made that show felt like, oh, there was like potential for something here, so I did something more with it. But we know that it doesn't end up anywhere. So like, so it was a weird decision now. Now that we know how the character ends, it was weird that they decided to focus on her in Tales of the Empire.
By the way, now that you make me think about that, why do you make me think about this show? Now that you make me think about that, she got cut through the stomach.
She did, yeah.
And as we know, that's the most common wound in the entirety of Star Wars, and most people survive that.
Yeah. I did notice that as well, that she got cut through the stomach. And the fun fact, the cut didn't even go through her, by the way. Like it grazed like the surface of her stomach, and that's it.
Yeah, it like burned her clothes.
It did. It burned her clothes.
It burned her bulletproof kimono.
It was one of the tamest slices through the stomach that we've ever seen in Star Wars. It was crazy. Yeah. If they really wanted to, she could be alive, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that she could be alive, or if she dies, it will be kind of funny, considering how many people have been stabbed in the few past shows.
True. I should say, if the writers wanted her to live, then she would live. As in, like, if they wanted to write it that she like survives those wounds, then it fits in the universe of Star Wars.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So if she dies, it's because the writers wanted to die. It's because they're done with the character.
Kimono, you know?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, because this is a Star Wars video, we've been discussing a lot about Stormblood, Final Fantasy Stormblood, and there is a scene where a character is wearing a kimono, is sliced with a sword, and then it turns out that they survive, and the liter is a line that her kimono was made of some strong material and the slice didn't go through.
Yeah, they retcon her death after the
They
fact.
retcon her death by
And
that. So that's why the bulletproof kimono is our number one meme.
It is.
Of like plot armor.
Literally plot armor. But so that wraps up the initial scene with with Morgan receiving the sword. That leads us into the next scene, which is Ezra. Ezra on the ship rebuilding the lightsaber. This is what we were mentioning earlier in regards to, this is the one scene where they bring up Sabine's backstory, and they very, very quickly and very briefly touch on the fact that Mandalore was just genocide that occurred. All the Mandalorian people died, and her family died as well, and they very quickly move on. But before we get into that big like reveal, or I should say before we get into the fact that they addressed a major plot point and they moved on from it, what was shocking to me, and again, like we're like 7 minutes into the episode, and like I'm
literally first minutes.
I'm aghast by what's been happening. The fact that what they did to Morgan when it came to the ritual and everything, and then getting rid of the character, and then immediately going into Ezra, and then them playing with the idea in the previous episode of Ezra being that like kind of like Jackie Chan Force guy who doesn't need a lightsaber, and immediately backtracking on that and giving him a lightsaber.
They themselves.
Yes, they did. They did. Like that's what I told you. Like I was shocked so many times this episode. I was shocked that they were contradicting themselves. Like and again, I liked the idea initially where they're like, hey, you know what? Where he's like, hey, I gave my lightsaber to you. This also reminded me as well that they bastardized his lightsaber, which was really weird. When Sabine said that she took his lightsaber and made it her own, so that now it isn't a lightsaber blaster like it used to be, and that's what made it really cool and unique. And she literally dismantled and got rid of it and made it whatever she wants.
No, I have to give credit where credit is due. Ezra did not have a blaster lightsaber at the end of Rebels anymore.
Okay.
If you remember, he lost his original lightsaber and he made a new one, and the new one was just a straight up lightsaber, which by the way I hated, because I liked that he had an original idea, and I hated that they took it away from him.
Well, then that makes it even more weird that she said that she dismantled it. Because if you remember, she had the line in this show that she repurposed the lightsaber. She took it apart and then rebuilt it to be her own lightsaber, which still stands by my point of it being kind of disrespectful to the person that gave you the lightsaber to begin with. Like that
I actually did not remember that. Like, but I cannot analyze that specific part, because in my mind, watching Rebels, he did not gift her the lightsaber to make it her own. It was more like he like let her take care of it, as kind of like oh, give it back to me when you find me, kind of thing, like something to like remember him by, kind of thing.
But that's why it's weird that he would make a new one, right? Like,
yes, that's why I said that's what. No, it's just so weird on many levels, because firstly, like as you said, like it was never supposed to be hers, but sure, they went with that. But then he said like, oh, I don't need it, I'm all like a Force guy now. So if you say that, and then literally the next episode is like, oh no, yeah, I'm making a new one, I actually need one. I'm like, so which one is it?
Well, this is why, like, this is what I tried to emphasize previously, and this is what reminds me of other poorly written shows and poorly written narratives like Final Fantasy XIV and even Star Wars when it comes to the sequel trilogy, is lack of foresight and lack of planning.
I have to interrupt you. Let's not say Final Fantasy XIV, because there are some good parts of Final Fantasy XIV.
Sorry, Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. There you go.
Yes, Stormblood.
So same with Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, same with the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, where there were so many moments in this episode where, and hopefully we're able to catch on to like the connecting thread here, where it feels like the writers of this show previously didn't know what was going to happen in this episode, so there was no lead up. There was a lot of things here that there was no lead up, there was no kind of setup for anything, or maybe they did something one way and then they did it the other way. That's in reference to the whole Mandalorian thing, how we mentioned that like this is something that they quickly added at the very end because they didn't realize that this was an important part of the character. If they had, they would have done it earlier. They would have touched on it and they would have been a bigger part of the character earlier in the show, but they didn't because they didn't realize it. Here, it's very similar, where they get to the final episode and they make the internal decision. They're like, we want Ezra to fight. We change our minds. We want him to fight with a lightsaber. We want that visual for the final episode. And they're like, oh, but we kind of like we're setting up his character to be above that or just be different to that and be more reliant on the Force. And then that opinion was overridden by the committee or by whoever's calling the shots, by the director of the show. But that was changed specifically for this episode. This wasn't decided on earlier in the show. So I think this, and to me, it was apparent earlier in the show as well, but now even more apparent, where a bunch of decisions were made last minute, and they didn't have this all planned out from the beginning.
Yeah, because as you said, there was no lead up to that scene where he decides to build a new one. Like, he says it himself that he doesn't want to use one.
Well, as in, if they knew that they were going to give him a lightsaber later, they would not have had the line previously about him not wanting the lightsaber back.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't know.
Exactly.
They just didn't know. As in when they wrote that line, when they wrote the previous episode, they didn't know that it was going to get a lightsaber later. That was just a decision made afterwards. And they're like, oh fuck, like we just hope that they just don't notice that we did that.
But you would think you would read the script beforehand and just like
they didn't write. No, it wasn't written. It wasn't written. Like they didn't. Sorry, when I say that they didn't plan it ahead of time, they didn't plan it ahead of time. They hadn't written the finale. They hadn't written the final episode. They didn't know where the show was going.
I mean, see, that's my problem with the show. That's exactly what the finale feels like, because throughout this entire episode, as we were talking about it, like the previous episodes, I did not actually know what is the finale we're building up to.
The writers didn't know. They didn't know. Ironically, they didn't know. But like, I said it as a joke last time, but I'm serious. Like they didn't know.
Like the show was going, but like I still didn't know like what is the direction that we're going. Like what is supposed to be the big thing towards which we're building up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it feels like that like there was no plan about what is gonna happen next.
Because in episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the writers didn't know that Morgan was going to be the big bad. They didn't know. They didn't know that she was going to be the final fighter at the very end that they would have to defeat. They didn't know that. They didn't know that Ezra was going to have a lightsaber again. They didn't know. They didn't know that that's the cargo was going to be a bunch of dead bodies, and that's that the mothers were going to have an alliance with Thrawn. They didn't know that. That's why they wrote them to be subservient to him, because they didn't know that they were going to be partners. That was decided later, right? Everything he was just decided later. Which is what makes this. Like. No, that's what it is. 100%. Like it feels that way because that's what it is. Otherwise you wouldn't feel this way, right? Otherwise you wouldn't. It wouldn't be this apparent. It's crazy. Like it
is crazy.
Yeah.
What's even more crazy is Huyang, for the second time. By the way, he's the only person, but for the second time, bringing the name of Kanan Jarrus.
He did. I mentioned him, yeah.
He did. Moreover, he said Kanan Jarrus and then proceeded to call him Caleb.
I didn't catch that. Did he?
He did.
Okay.
He did, which is important because that means that Huyang knows that they are the same person.
Mm-hmm. Whereas he shouldn't, right? He shouldn't know that.
I mean, you could probably get away with like, oh, probably somebody told him.
If Sabine told him or Ahsoka told him, yeah, you can write it as someone told him for sure, like someone in the know.
Yeah, but still, it is kind of sudden to hear that, like as if that would be common knowledge, where like nobody's supposed to know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what I was gonna say, I don't know if Sabine knows what is Kanan's old name.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. That's yeah.
Like Hera knows probably.
Mhm.
Ezra knows only because of the whole wolf thing, but I don't even think the rest of the crew knows his old name.
Mhm.
So Ahsoka also wouldn't know his old name.
Well, the thing is, Kuro, is that the writers didn't know that. They just Googled Kanan. The reason why this is the second time that they mentioned Kanan in the show is because I told you that scene was recorded after the fact. Straight up. So, and fun fact, that was a part of the same scene. Referring to the scene that name drops the backstory of Sabine. That's also when he mentions Kanan and Caleb. That's because that was done after the fact. That was after the intern had told them. Remember, he checked on Wikipedia, and then he found Kanan. He was like, "Oh, Kanan. Oh, it's Caleb. Oh, I guess that's his real name." And then he told the writers, and then they used it. But like this was done after they had done their Wikipedia researching, and they didn't understand the context of what that means, and the fact that certain characters should and shouldn't know, and he was trying to hide his identity, and how that there shouldn't really be a connection between the two people because of the history, and because he wasn't calling himself by that name, and no one should know that, or even piece the two together. But they didn't know that. They didn't know. Like they just read the title on Wikipedia. It's like Kanan
Jarrus, also known as Caleb Dume.
Caleb.
This guy.
Yeah. Yeah, because they didn't watch the show. They didn't watch it. No shot.
You know that Dave Filoni was a co-writer, right?
Yeah. This is the part that he didn't write, I'm assuming. He's not the writer. He's the co-writer. He's the co-writer.
I see.
Yeah. What that means is that he didn't write any of it. He just put his name on it at the end. It's like, okay.
Nobody knows that. Yeah.
But do you believe that he wrote any of this? No shot. I mean, if you do, then maybe he's just a bad writer, I guess. The other option is that he had other people write it, and he just approved it.
Listen. There's the thing, like, because I actually found the art. Yeah, that's what I was looking for when I told you that I was looking for something. I found that article we were talking about the writers of Rebels talking about Ahsoka. And it was a person who was a co-producer on the show together with Dave Filoni, and he said that specifically the article they mentioned, it was like part of a podcast or something. He mentioned that the writers had the idea of making Sabine a Jedi, or making her like Force sensitive, but they decided not to. As in, like, it was brought up on like a writer meeting or something, but they decided that would be too much to do. That's specifically what that conversation was about. But like, that means that there was like a whole group of people writing, and like some ideas were discarded because of one reason or another. So that's why I'm saying that he could totally be part of that group, but maybe his ideas just didn't make it, or maybe some did, and others like were fought against, or maybe some were improved. Maybe he had some good ideas, but people like incorporated them into the series.
I would say no, as in yes, there is a writing room where you have a bunch of writers together and they're deciding on things. I would assume that if Dave Filoni, he's a big enough name where if he wanted to do certain things, that he could probably push for them.
I guess my point being is that maybe back then he didn't have that much sway.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that maybe he had bad ideas already back then, but because he was less successful, he had less influence during Rebels. But now that he's more influential, now he can push what he wants forward, and he can push his ideas forward, and there's less pushback against that.
Basically, I'm talking about how remember how we talked about it both about George Lucas, but also like with Dragon Ball as well, where like basically like they writing good stories, but they still have editors who like improve those things and make sure that they are like organized, and then like they kind of just allowed to write themselves without the supervision, and then it becomes like messy because nobody's supervising it.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about that idea.
Yeah, but that's what I just said. In the sense, like that's what I just said. Where in the past, because he was still building as an entity in Star Wars and still building up his career, like there were more voices or more opinions that would be equal to his own, or they'd be pushed against what he was saying, and there'd be a little bit more of a back and forth, and there'd be like other factors and other influencers when it comes to the direction of the story. Whereas now that he has kind of risen through the ranks, and that he has, as I said, he has more influence when it comes to the writing room, then there's kind of less supervision, or there are less ways to like stop certain decisions to be made, right? There are less like opposing voices. There you go. There's less opposing voices to what he wants. So then there's a world where the direction of the story here is what Dave Filoni wants. It's just that no one could tell him no, or there's less
like
people
that's what I'm
telling
saying.
him
That's kind of what it feels like. If he was involved in both productions, but like then like this is where it's going. The quality of the two is just so vastly different. That's what I feel like. That like maybe
Yeah.
back then there was like more back and forth discussion between people, and
Yeah.
like again, I want to emphasize that like because I don't know what was happening on those rooms, I don't want to say, oh, like he always had only bad ideas. Like maybe he had good ideas, but like there was just more discussion between people, and like they together like decided on going one way or another. Where I feel like now, like whoever is making decision is not necessarily making the good ones.
Yeah, that's it's hard to confirm. Like I think with other creators, it's a little bit easier because it's their work. Like what I mean by that is that for George Lucas, there's all this documentation that he had like almost like 100% control of the prequels, right? Or for Toriyama, like especially when it comes to manga and anime, like the mangaka, like the creator, has a lot of control over what is being done and what is being said. As in that's the person that you can kind of like assign blame or responsibility to. When it comes to a show like this, like we don't know how much input he had here. We can make some assumptions here and there, but we don't really know as much. In the other examples, like we can very clearly say that like George was 100%. He was pushing what he wanted. Toriyama was pushing what he wanted when it comes to decisions, like in later parts of their career, like 100%. Here, I don't know if we can say that for certain. I think we can safely assume that he does have more influence than he used to. I think that's like I don't think anyone would ever contest that. But I still don't know if that means that like he's able to push like his ideas through, or if because he's so successful he like delegates to other people more, and he put his name on this show, and he really gave the reins to like all the other writers and kind of let them do what they wanted. Like
that's why I'm saying that like I don't necessarily say that like it was specifically him who did that, but whoever is making that decision like just isn't making a good one a lot of times.
Yeah, they're not for sure. For sure. So it's hard to say exactly, but I can see that being the case. But again, it could be either one. I think for me it's like 50-50. Like it's either he had too much influence or not enough. Like it's one or the other. Like it's
like either he has too much influence and just makes all the choices, or he just like, as you said, he just delegates and just like signs it off. It's like okay, good enough.
Exactly. Like I can see either one being the case, and then obviously they're both bad. but obviously something bad happened because we ended up with this, right? Like all we know is that the end product was of poor quality, and like something had to have happened for that to be the case.
See, they're both bad, but I said that before, and I will keep repeating that. But like, I think the option number 2 is worse, where you like just let other people just write it and just sign off whatever, because as you said, like Ahsoka is like his baby. That's his character, like the one he cares about. And like I always find it very weird. Like that's why I always like complain about a lot of that's usually my number one complaint about some shows, whether it be like anime, games, whatever. Is you created those characters, like they are your creations. Why do you treat them poorly? Like if you care about them so much, why do you treat them poorly? That's something I could never understand.
I agree. It's
because it's different when it's like he made Ahsoka show because he likes Ahsoka so much, and like she's so cool, but like all the supporting characters are like nowhere, and she's like the only cool person. That I could more understand, because then you're just over focusing on the character. But even her, like even she isn't like properly fleshed out. So like why do you not care about her?
Yeah, it's weird. It's right. It's just a really weird show, because I was thinking about that during this episode, where it's like it doesn't feel like Ahsoka's the main character. Like I say that, like I mentioned in the previous episode, when in regards to the flashback episode where she had the swim in the ocean, and she was thinking about Anakin and going through all that. at no point in this season did Ahsoka ever have any growth, right? Like that was our complaint about that, about her encountering the Force Ghost of Anakin, and we'll get to the final scene of this season. But like, about her encountering the Force Ghost and the quote unquote trials that she has, but she doesn't learn anything. She doesn't achieve anything. She doesn't grow as a character, and I don't think at any point in this entire show does she ever grow as a character, and that feels weird, right? It feels like there was more attention on Sabine more than anything. I feel like even though I feel like Sabine was treated poorly, and even though I don't think her character growth was good either, I think that she was given more attention than Ahsoka this show, right? Which is weird.
And, legit, she was given more attention than Ahsoka in this show, and this is funny. Because, as you said, episode 5, this was supposed to be like a big turning point for Ahsoka, where we literally have Ahsoka the Grey turning into Ahsoka the White, which I found hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
I genuinely was about to laugh when I saw her walking out in white clothes. But you would think that this would be like a turning point where like she kind of comes to terms with everything one way or another, and like she like knows her way forward. But even after that, like, she's still asking the same questions. She's still like, oh, Sabine did that. Like, how could she do this? I tried to tell her. I didn't. Like, she has the same doubts that she had on the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, nothing has changed in that regard.
She doesn't grow at all. It's crazy. They got it. It's like the character of Ahsoka from episode 1 to episode 8 is the same character. There's no growth, there's no change, there's nothing learned, there's nothing gained, at all. At least for Sabine, despite the fact that I think they handle the character very poorly, and the portrayal of Sabine here is a joke compared to what she is in Rebels. Like even they still gave her like attention and they attempted to give her some growth as a character as well here, more so than Ahsoka, which is weird because it's the Ahsoka show, not the Sabine show. So like So as you said, like if Dave Filoni is in charge of this, like. And if Ahsoka's his like baby, like it's kind of weird that they didn't do anything with Ahsoka. Like it's like they used Ahsoka the name because more people probably know the name Ahsoka than the name Sabine, and it's like the Ahsoka show. That's what it's called, but really it's like a hidden Sabine show. It's like what? Like
they call it something else. Call it Rebels.
It's like the Book of Boba Fett. It's like the show is called Book of Boba Fett. But it wasn't. But like, who was the best character in Book of Boba Fett?
It was not about Boba Fett. It was about what is her name? Fennec Shand.
Yeah, Fennec Shand.
It was the Book of Fennec Shand.
Yeah, it was just in disguise. It's like The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian season 3 it's called The Mandalorian season 3. It was the Bo-Katan show.
Yeah, Bo-Katan.
It was the Bo-Katan. Yeah.
The thing is with Mandalorian they can get away with it because she's a Mandalorian.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, we did speak on that internally when we were watching it, that you can get away with it because you're all Mandalorians. So that
because the show is called The Mandalorian. Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be specific. It can be just like the way of the Mandalorian or whatever else. Yeah. So I'm willing to give them that. Yeah,
it's not called like Din or like it's The Mandalorian. So yeah, but yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird that this is how the show ended up, and the decision that they made and the characters that they decided to focus on. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, so Ezra makes a lightsaber.
Yeah, we were literally at minute 8.
Yeah, we're at minute 8, so Ezra makes a lightsaber. He shouldn't have made a lightsaber. It's weird that he did.
He shouldn't make a lightsaber.
It's weird
because he was. Okay, there's so many things wrong with it.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all wrong. Hold on. Yeah.
Firstly, he makes a lightsaber, which contradicts the previous episode. We already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, he makes a regular lightsaber. It's not different in any way. It's just a lightsaber. It doesn't have any special features, special shape. It's just a lightsaber. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess we're back to blunt Ezra with regular lightsaber. Thirdly, as we mentioned, Huyang knows who Caleb Dune is and Kanan Jarrus, and that they're the same person, even though he shouldn't unless someone told him, because that was like a tightly kept secret.
He looked it up on Wikipedia.
I guess the Inquisitors know. I think the Inquisitors know.
Maybe, yeah.
I think the Inquisitors know Kanan's name as well.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think they did.
Yeah.
So like you can write it that he got to know that somehow, but still it was just suddenly dropped that he knows.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the drawer and picks the part that he had only 2 of, and the other one was Kanan's. I'm like, are you serious?
The moment that he said that, it's like, do you do that for every Jedi? Like, it's like, do you have like 500 components of Kit Fisto's like second or
Yes.
third lightsaber part, and like
No, he knew. Look, Huyang knew that Caleb is gonna be special, and he will bring the balance to that. No, wait, that's different character. But he knew that he will be special, and way in the future they will have need of it.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's got a little compartment.
And that's why
with,
nobody else got it.
Yeah, with like a little spork of Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, and he's got another compartment of Yaddle or something like that. That's what that felt like. It's like, what? It's like, do you just randomly hold on to things of like old Jedi because you have to, because as you said, like if it's hyper specific to him, that doesn't make any sense. So because that doesn't make any sense, he has to do that for everyone. But but that doesn't make any sense either. It just didn't make any sense. Like, period. You can't like, it's just,
it would make more sense if like he had, maybe he has like the last part left, because like, obviously like this ship has been flying for a while, like they have only limited number of resources. It's like, it's the last of this kind, and who else used it, like it was this guy, and that would be fine because it would be like a reference. But him specifically, I kept it for him, but I guess you should have it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, because even that line saying that he kept it for him, everyone thought he was dead. That's why he name changed. So like, what? like what, was he just gonna hold it forever? And that's why I was saying, like, does he do that for everyone? Like, does he have someone for everyone that he's holding on to forever? And even if they are confirmed dead, like he still keeps them anyway, because everyone thought that Caleb was dead. That's why his name changed. It's like, yeah,
that's part I think he can get away with the fact, because just how many people have been on this ship to build lightsaber in the last 10 years, So like that part he can get away with. He just has all these parts.
What do you mean? Like Caleb wasn't there? What do you?
Yeah, but what I mean is that like nobody used these parts. Like they're just laying around.
No, yeah. So what you're saying is that means that he should have parts of every Jedi lightsaber that was ever built there.
Yeah, and they're just laying around.
And he has them like in their own little compartment. So he does have like a part of like Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and like a part of like Anakin's lightsaber, and like a part of like Ahsoka's lightsaber, and like a part of like, I don't know, just random Jedi, like 56.
I mean, I don't know if he has all the Jedi.
No, yeah, everyone.
They probably like had like sectors, like.
Yeah.
I assume there's more than one Jedi shuttle.
No, because he said himself that he basically helped every Jedi build their lightsaber. That's what that was a line in this episode. Yeah, he literally said that in this episode. That he's the only like Jedi droid that makes lightsabers for everyone.
True.
His line was almost every, which is like, like 95% or something.
Yeah, but yeah, that means that he has odd parts. But like what I'm saying is that like, they don't make new parts, so like just whatever parts he has left is what he has.
Do they not make new parts?
I assume they don't, because there's no Jedi Order anymore. So where does he get his resources?
From the Republic. He's fulcrum.
I guess. True. I guess Republic could start making them again.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, Luke, he's rebuilding the Jedi Order as we speak, right? Or by now it would have been done. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. But see, I do think like you could still make a reference to or you know what would be better? Actually, hold on. This is like not redoing the scene, but just redoing the dialogue itself. You know what would be better?
Mm-hmm.
Ezra was looking for a part, but he was looking for something very specific, and Huyang was like trying to like suggest him different things, and like nothing fits, and like he finds it one part, and he gives, and like it's like, well, this is the last of this I have, and like he gives it to him, and then like he was like, who else used it? Because Huyang likes to throw in random facts. He's like, who else? There was this one student called Caleb. He also used this part.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting, like just randomly tell stories. And they don't have to say it was Kana, but Ezra would know, because Ezra knows his name.
See, Kurt, that requires subtlety, and whoever's writing this, whoever's writing this show doesn't have any subtlety. They just want to smack you over the head with whatever it is they found out on Wikipedia.
Yes, I've noticed. I have definitely noticed that.
You're like, but my head hurts. They just keep smacking the head over and over again.
Stop smacking me in the head with member base.
Oh, God.
But what I said, there would be like a subtle reference where like he's like, oh yeah, I had this student called Caleb too, and like Ezra would realize who he's talking about because Ezra knows Kanan's name.
Mhm.
And that would be like a nice reference to that. We're like, oh, they are kind of alike, kind of thing. Instead of like, as you said, smacking you on the head with the reference.
Yeah. So, Ezra, he remakes his lightsaber. They retcon the idea or the concept of him not needing to use it, so they decide they want to use it.
Oh, by the way, can I complain? Can I complain about one more thing? His lightsaber is blue.
It is.
He always had a green one.
It's
from
blue
the very
because
beginning. From the beginning, he always had a green one. Kanan had a blue one, and they made him use a blue one because of Kanan, probably, or maybe just because it's different than Sabine.
Yep, that's the only reason. They didn't want 2 green lightsabers, and because Sabine already had a green one, he had to have a blue one, just to have a different color. That's the only reason. That's also why Ahsoka's lightsabers are white. Just so
a moment of silence for creativity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I don't know why, but it just felt very wrong to see Ezra with a blue lightsaber.
It is.
He always had green.
It's
like he had different type, but he always had green.
You don't understand. The writers of the show, they don't know that he only ever had a green lightsaber, and that whether or not that had any meaning. They didn't know. They just wanted him to have a different color. That's all they wanted. They didn't know. The intern didn't get up to that episode when he was watching the shows. He didn't get there. Not in time.
Not in time.
No, there's only so much he can do. There's only he's being overworked real hard. Okay, he's doing his best.
No, yeah, I understand.
He's doing what he can. No. Smooch. So after that, they have like the ship crashing. They lift the ship. We move on from that. The next big scene, at least from me, was the throne scene when they send down all the troops, when they talk about buying time. So this is the moment. So we spoke earlier how at the time of Morgan accepting like the power and accepting the blade and all that stuff, they hadn't decided that she had to buy time because the Jedi were coming. That wasn't the case yet. And if you recall, they even had a scene where like they spoke about how the ship had been destroyed or had been disabled, and that delays them even further. And then he's like, okay, we're gonna get ready for like a ground assault or something. And then that's when he tells Morgan to prepare the troops. They have all the volunteers to buy time. And the reason why do you think this bothered me when this was happening, when the story was unfolding in such a way?
Because he didn't want to engage more resources that he had to, yet he sent an entire ground army?
No. So
okay.
So this is the one thing that bothered me about Thrawn this entire show is that he never had a strategic victory the entire show, even though that's meant to be a speciality. So if you remember, it all began with Ahsoka arriving nearby, and he orders them to like shoot and kill the whales. They don't kill the whales. Ahsoka, she gets out of the whale, she gets into the asteroid belt, and he's like, they lost him in the asteroid belt. He's like, this is acceptable, like it's okay. We can like kind of like lure her and direct her where we want to direct her, and she escapes and she lands on the planet. She's like, it's okay, this is acceptable, it's fine. We're gonna distract her, I guess. We're gonna distract her, and because this distraction, and do you remember the final scene of that episode? They show the bar. They show the bar of all the cargo being loaded. It's like 80% or like 90% done. Like it's like at the end where he's like, these are acceptable losses because we've achieved our goal of loading everything up. Like it's too late. It's too late. We're almost done, and they're over there like fighting, the bandits like out of nowhere.
You know what was my favorite part when he said the cargo is loaded and you can see that the things are still being moved in the background. Like you're not done. You can look
well,
around.
they
Not
show
done.
they show the bar being filled, and it's literally like 80% done, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so,
but it was funny when they said we are done, we are all ready to go, and you can see that they're still moving.
cut to this episode where they intentionally show the group of Jedi like traveling as slowly as possible because like they have the ship, but the ship is like covering like the snail people, and so they're like slowly like crossing the plains.
Just have a casual flight
as slow as possible. Then they emphasize that the ship was destroyed, which means they can't use the ship to go there anyway, so that the only way they can get there is by going through the little snail shuttles. And they make it to the fortress before that final like 20% gets loaded up from the previous episode. What?
Those wolves are really fast.
Like what? Like that's what weirded me. Like the moment where he's like, "Oh, we're not loaded up yet. I guess we got to make a stand." It's like, wasn't the whole reason why you were coping and why you said like, "Oh, like these losses are they're acceptable." He kept saying the line like, "This is acceptable."
Yeah.
And it's like everything's on fire around him. It's the meme with the dog with the house on fire where like, "This is acceptable," and everything's on fire. It's like, what?
I'm gonna make that meme of thrown in a fire is like, this is acceptable.
That was his line of the season. He just kept like things kept going wrong, and he's like, "This is okay. this is okay, guys. Don't worry. It's all according to Keikaku. Don't worry about it. Everything's like just catching fire." But it was just so jarring to me, at least, where the previous episode, he's like, "This is all according to Keikaku. They're off in the middle of nowhere on snails, and we have almost finished. We got like 10 crates left. We got 10 bodies left to load up. Let's go." Cut to this episode. They have the time to do this ritual, this ceremony. They even shoot down the ship. You know, the Jedi even have time to take a breath and to make a lightsaber and all this stuff. And then suddenly they show up, and he's like, "Oh god, we're not done yet." It's like, what? What's like what? Like what happened?
Yeah, like what happened?
What just like there's a disconnect in the storytelling here where they were almost done, but I guess not, and they were far away, but I guess not, and they were traveling by ground, which should mean that they're slow to arrive, but they're not. They just get there anyway, and it's like, what's happening? It's like it's like again, when it comes to the lack of foresight and lack of knowing where the story was going, the people that wrote the end of the last episode, where they wrote that they were almost done loading everything up, didn't know that they weren't almost done loading everything up. Like they didn't know. They didn't know that really, like the bar was actually like only 30% done or something. Like they didn't know that really he would not finish loading up in time for them to get across the planet.
There was a traffic jam, and the crates could not be loaded faster, and they were just standing there. You know?
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say again, because it's the kind of we keep mentioning that like you start thinking about things, and the more you think, the less it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why were they not in a hurry in the first place?
Well, I mean, no, this goes all the way back to what I said in the beginning. Why were they not loaded up to begin with originally, before anything happened?
No, not them. I mean Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine. Why were they not in a hurry? Why were they just floating with the turtle people? I thought the whole mission is to stop Thrawn, and you're saying me they just had a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought this was like this whole thing that like, oh, we have to hurry to stop Thrawn, because otherwise like the fate of the galaxy is
it doesn't make any sense, because the only thing you could say is that because they intentionally showed that the ship was like on top of the snail people, so it looked like they were maybe like protecting them from like fire, but the ship gets destroyed anyway, and there's nothing to say that Thrawn couldn't have sent more TIE fighters to like to destroy the snail people if he really wanted to. So like that's that
thing. But like secondly, they also knew that Thrawn is like delaying them, and like they needed to say. But I think it's even funnier than that. You know what it was? You know what their justification is? Because when Ezra makes the lightsaber, he throws a line. He finishes he scrambles to get parts. Like he puts it together. He lights it up. He's like, "Guys, I'm ready. We can go." Were they all waiting for him to make the lightsaber?
That's why he was rushing. Everyone was waiting for him. Everyone was waiting for him to finish, and then they could go. Yeah, they're waiting.
Was it really that important? The guy who said that he is a Force guy now and he's been practicing clearly for 10 years.
Mhm.
And you're telling me that everybody was waiting with this extremely important mission for him to make himself a new lightsaber.
But winding it back here. So the idea of there being a weird disconnect of them almost finishing loading and then apparently they're not almost done and they take forever to finish it. That's one thing that stood out to me as a really weird disconnect between the episodes. But more importantly, this also undercuts Thrawn's final line, where at the very end of the last episode, he's like, these like losses are acceptable because there's like a grander plan here. We're about to finish uploading everything, and then we're gonna be done. Like so everything's okay, everything's fine. But then suddenly, if they're knocking down his front door, everything's not fine. That makes him look incompetent, right? That makes it look like.
Yeah.
Like that makes it look like he was coping. It makes it look like or that he's just miscalculating everything. Like and he's not taking things as seriously as the other way should. This is what I was trying to mention earlier, where someone like Thrawn, the way that you build up a character like this throughout the course of the season, you're supposed to give him wins. Like you're supposed to have him out strategize and use his tactics to defeat his opponents, not kill, but to defeat them. And to get wins over them, to make him look intimidating, to make him look like a threat, to build up the character itself, and to make him look imposing, and to make him a proper to build him up as a character, right? Because you want to build him up because you're going to use him later as well.
You mean like in Rebels?
Yeah.
When he finds their bases several times, destroys them, like
he finds their bases, like they're trying to they have a mole, but he knows who the mole is. You know, like he finds the rebel base, he destroys the rebel base, he destroys like the goat people. Like he knows all these things. Like he's outsmarting them at every turn, right? Like that's true.
He actually is intimidating. Like he doesn't win in the end, but remember who defeated him on the last rebel base that he destroyed? You know who? The space goat.
Yeah, true.
It wasn't any of the characters. Like the characters just evacuated what they could and they just left. What defeated him was the weather of the planet, essentially.
Yeah. Like in this show, what did he achieve? What did he succeed in? Nothing. Like he got away. That's it. He ran away. That's all he did. Remember, as I was saying, like for every single like major encounter, it always ended with these losses are acceptable. Like as in like he would lose and then he'd be like, it's okay that we lost. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about it. It's something else is gonna go on anyway, and then nothing happens. Like you needed him to have successfully shot down Ahsoka, right? And then have her crash land on the planet instead, right? Where they think that maybe she was killed and destroyed, and maybe she survived because she's a Jedi and she used the Force to make it out alongside the droid as well, right? Something like that, right? Like have him successfully, have him kill the whales, have her like have a bunch of tension and have like dramatic scene where she has to get the hell out of there and she has to like escape the whales and go through the asteroid belt. There's TIE fighters waiting for them as well because it was a trap because they knew that they were coming, so there were people just waiting at the entrance to like shoot them down. And then she has to desperately go into the asteroid belt. Like her ship gets damaged, her ship is being destroyed. Like she like emergency like exits out and like crash lands on the planet itself. And then she's screwed. She's on the planet. Like he sends Balin out to hunt her down and all this stuff. Like have him be on the aggressive. Have the Jedi be on the back foot and have him be more menacing in that way. But literally he was not threatening at all. Like he was not threatening at all. He achieved nothing at all when it came to his quote unquote strategic like moves. Like every single time he failed.
I do feel like he's really like his character in this show is really relying on his previous charisma and like not actually doing the things in this show specifically. But what I wanted to say, because I was getting back at what you said, how they should like Ahsoka down, should like crash land on the planet. You could have a fun dialogue with that, because if you remember, they have the dialogue in the episode where Thrawn like tells Morgan not to underestimate the Jedi. You could have a line there where Morgan is like, "Oh, she couldn't have survived that crash," and then Thrawn like turns to her, "You have made that mistake before." Because remember, Morgan told him that Ahsoka is dead, like because they thought she was dead. Like so that you could have the dialogue where like he's like I know she survived, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I agree. Like in the sense that, in this show they're telling you that he's like a tactician and a strategist and he's intimidating, but they're not showing you that, and you don't buy that as a viewer. Like as a viewer, you don't believe that he's. Or I would say they've done a bad job at portraying him as someone who's competent and as a proper villain. Like that they have failed to achieve that in this show.
Yeah, that's why I'm very interested. I would like to hear an opinion of someone who does not have a context of this and just watches this show, and like what their opinion on Throne is, because like we know the Throne of the past, so we cannot like fully just judge it like separately. But I'm very curious, like what would be the impression of someone who has only seen this version of
I
Throne?
would imagine their impression is going to be that he's a clown, because as I said, like this whole season was him coping. Like again, he didn't achieve anything. I feel like if someone didn't watch the Rebels, they'd have a worse view of Thrawn than we do, because like we have expectations of Thrawn. They don't have any expectations for Thrawn because they don't know any of his backstory. They're just taking him at his face value, and he's coming off as nothing. Like he's coming off as someone who's incompetent, as someone who just ran away, right, and wasn't able to achieve anything, wasn't able to be threatening, to be a menace, to be a threat. He wasn't. What did he achieve? What did he do? This show.
He got rid of Granddad and his granddaughter.
But he didn't even do that. Granddad left by himself. He chose to leave.
Yeah, but he's gone.
Yeah, not because of Thrawn. He didn't do anything about that. If you remember, that actually foiled. His plans were foiled because he left. Like that, he's like that. That was one of the moments where Balin left, and he's like, "Oh, this is an acceptable loss." Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, he said this is unexpected, but it's okay. This is an acceptable loss. And
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like. I was just. It was just shocking to me that they would portray him in this way. They chose to portray him in this way, when he's supposed to be like an intimidating and like an intimidating character. And I would say that they failed to portray him in that way in this show. Intentionally so. Like they could have done more with him. They could have had him be competent, have him be threatening. They chose not to. Just didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that leads into their assault. Their assault on the fortress. They break into the fortress. They fight their way through. We have the witches with the zombie stuff. That's whatever. It's just all action, fight stuff, whatever.
The zombie stuff was kind of funny because I'm like, oh yeah, what hasn't been in Star Wars yet? Zombies. It's like, I see.
It was the zombie stuff was weird to me because it shows how PG the fight was.
Yes.
As in,
it was very PG.
As in, you have everyone die first, and you would think that a bunch of them would be like cut in half or missing legs because they were using lightsabers, but apparently not. So everyone just stands up and all the limbs are attached and everything. So it's like wait, what? Like how'd you kill these guys initially if they're all intact?
Yeah.
If you're like swinging at them with lightsabers,
head,
yeah, like that's what stood out to me, is just how PG it is. The fact that they're fighting with lightsabers but they don't do anything with it, which goes into how Morgan dies, right? Because she lightly gets grazed in the stomach and that's it. I think the only dismemberment they and because it's the only one, they do a full zoom and they focus on it, was when Ezra like decapitates one of the guys, right?
Ezra decapitates a guy, by the way, which is a very brutal way to go, but also they put like an obelisk in front of him, so you don't see the exact moment when the head is cut. You just see the head rolling. I'm like, I see.
It was really weird, right? Like it's just they censored everything, where they censored him cutting him off, but they still zoomed in on the head rolling. So they wanted to show how brutal that scene was, but like at the same time they didn't want. It was
You also have Sabine stabbing a guy in the head. Remember?
Yeah, she did.
She just straight up stabs you in the head.
Yeah.
So like they cannot decide what they really want.
For some reason, specifically for that scene, they were a little bit more brutal with the characters, but only for that scene. That's it. Like not for the rest.
Yeah. But what I wanted to say also about the zombies, like I'm willing to let them get away with the whole zombie thing, because Witches of Dathomir do like double with like life and death stuff. So yeah sure, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
But what was funny to me is that when they got up, They were literal zombies. They were just like, crawling towards them and just like stumbling over each other. And then like 2 scenes later, they are running in formation. I'm like, what happened there?
It was very so it was very inconsistent, and it was apparent when watching it where it felt weird because you didn't really know how in danger people were, because sometimes they were like stumbling and trying to grab them, other times they were actually using their guns, but like not always. Like it felt really, it looked really bizarre and stupid when you'd have like a bunch of zombies show up and then they chase them while they're running with guns instead of shooting. Like there were a lot of scenes where a bunch of stormtroopers, they have guns but they're not using them. They're like chasing them while holding guns as well.
And you can say that
and then you cut to the next scene and then they start shooting. So like
and they start shooting,
yes.
and they like use explosives. So is it one or the other?
Like it was very inconsistent, and because that inconsistency, when you're watching, your brain doesn't know how threatening they are and doesn't really know how in danger these people are, because you don't know what's weird. Like the expectations are all over the place. It's like, oh, the zombie showed up. Are they going to shoot him? No. Are they going to grab him? Yes, maybe. It was very awkward. It was just very awkwardly done. Like they didn't know what they were doing.
By the way, how much? Because I know that you probably loved it. This is a minor detail, but how much did you like when Ezra got caught by a stormtrooper and Sabine could not shoot him with a blaster, but she could stab him with a lightsaber?
I laughed out loud when that happened. That was so fucking stupid. I didn't. No, that was just that is a bit of a nitpick. But yeah, that was just stupid. That was weird.
No, that was not a nitpick. Like that was them being like, oh, she's actually better at the lightsaber than guns now.
Yeah.
Like she's not supposed to be.
She's for those that are curious, Sabine is meant to be a better shot than she is at wielding a lightsaber.
She's
so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense for her to abandon the gun and use a sword when she's less accurate with the sword. So yeah, it's weird. It was weird. They don't know what they're doing with Sabine.
Here's I know, I would bring that up earlier, but we never have the time. For those who did not watch Rebels, Sabine's specialty is A, shooting, and B, explosives.
Yep.
She loves she's genuinely addicted to explosives. She always tries to make something explode, and people are like, no bomb, Sabine, not this time. We want this to be quiet. This is literally the whole theme in Rebels.
Kuro, did she ever use any bombs in this entire show?
No. No. The answer is no.
Do you think the writers know that she is known for explosives? No. They didn't get that far in her Wikipedia article. They didn't scroll down far enough. They just saw her name.
Yes.
Sabine.
But what I'm getting at, she's supposed to be all about tech, all about explosives, all about weapons. Like weapons, it's not just that she's interested in weapons.
All about arts. Remember the whole art thing? Remember that?
The art thing is separate thing, but they don't bring it up. But what I mean is that the reason they kind of bring that up on the very beginning, the reason why when Ahsoka gets the star map, she brings it to Sabine, and they're like, oh, she's the only person who could figure this out. Is because Sabine is, yes, she's good at art and she knows a lot about culture and stuff. She genuinely is interested in that. But on the other hand, she's really good at mechanics and and it's not just that she uses weaponry, she knows weaponry. She literally designed weapons. That was her, because before she became a rebel, she was actually employed by the Empire and she designed weapons. That's how far how knowledgeable is she supposed to be at this thing. And they don't use any of it.
No, the writers don't know that. They don't know. You said it yesterday. They don't know that she's a specialist. She is a specialist when it comes to explosives. They don't know that Sabine literally created a weapon that was used against her people that destroyed her people and that killed a bunch of them. And she was almost kind of responsible for the original break of Mandalore and borderline genocide earlier as well. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. It's crazy. And I'm assuming that Dave Filoni knows, but That's why one of the other options is that
that's
he
what
kind
I'm
of let them.
saying.
That's why I said earlier that one of the options is that he let them do what they want, and he kind of like signed off on it and kind of like gave other writers the reins, because you'd expect
Why
him
would
to
you
know.
do that? But why would you do that? Like, that is something I will never understand. If you, I mean, again, I'm more willing to accept that with Sabine, because as I said, like, Ahsoka is supposed to be more his thing. But like, if you care about the character, why would you let it happen?
He doesn't care about Sabine.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's shocking. it's shocking what this episode is. We're not even halfway through. Let's say it.
We're not. We're like 15 minutes in.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. So, then we have, of course, the face off, where the face comes off. Morgan faces off with Ahsoka. They have their fight. It's fine.
The face comes off.
Yeah. The duo of Ezra and Sabine, they leave. Morgan lets them leave. We already went over that, but she lets them leave. Doesn't make any sense. They go up the stairs. There's like some zombie troopers, which doesn't make any sense that they are zombie troopers, because they didn't die initially.
They're not zombie troopers, though.
No, they are.
There's something else.
Oh, I assumed that they were zombie troopers, but
no, these two that fight Ezra and Sabine are not zombie troopers, or at least not the same zombie troopers. I think I want to say that Thrawn called them dark troopers.
No, yeah, he said like death troopers or something. But yeah, he said something.
Yeah,
he had a special title for them. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So they are something else, but then they uncovered their faces that they were like something else completely. And
yeah, that's why I thought they were just zombies, but maybe not, or maybe they were, but maybe they were zombies made ahead of time. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that at least they are not the same zombies.
Yeah. So they fight them, they decapitate them, they kill them, they move on.
No, we're not moving on from that.
Yeah, before we move on from that. Yeah,
hold on. Sabine uses the Force to get the lightsaber, because we had to have that.
Did you? So I want to focus on that scene. So first things first here. Okay. Lightsaber's on the ground. She's struggling. She's reaching her hand out to the lightsaber, and the camera focuses on her hand. And the cameraman doesn't know this is happening. The director doesn't know this is happening. The writer doesn't know this is happening. But because the camera is focusing on her hand, the camera is also focusing on her wrist gauntlet that has the cable projectile on it. The the cable ties that is notoriously used, and even used in Rebels, to actually grab the lightsaber without the Force. But the camera happens to accidentally focus on that and doesn't use that. That's what stood out to me. Yeah, the grappling hook. Yeah. That was wild. that whoever was editing that scene didn't realize that they had left that in. So the entire time I'm like, I mean, she can just shoot her like grappling hook, her like projectile cable ties, and just grab it, which she's done before in the Rebels show, because she's meant to not know how to use the Force. She's gonna do that, right? Because they're literally zooming in on her wrists, and it's right there. Like you can see it. Yeah, but you can see the grappling hook like just sticking out of her wrist gauntlet. It's right there. It's crazy.
Even if she knew how to use the Force, we said that before, that she's supposed to fight like a Mandalorian kind of thing. Where like she's okay, not actually. Let's drop that. It's not about fight like a Mandalorian. She's supposed to be smart.
Yeah.
She's supposed to have wits about her.
Yes.
So she should know, considering everything that she knows about herself and the situation, that that's the fastest way to do it. So just do it and like think about it later. You know?
Yes.
But you know what was worse to me in that scene? That the grappling hook. I actually did not pay attention to the grappling hook.
It zoomed into her wrist, and you can see the grappling hook sticking out of her wrist gauntlet.
I did not notice, because I was paying attention to something else. To the fact that she was trying to reach for the lightsaber. At the same time, the Death Trooper, whatever it was, just holds her. And it's like, and he just stands there. He doesn't choke her. He doesn't like throw her. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there and waits for her to do it.
I mean, what can he do?
Okay, what can he do? Yeah. What can he do?
What can he do? You know, he's doing his best. Okay,
he just
he's a zombie.
Her and
He's a zombie with a helmet. He can't bite her. He's got a helmet on. Like what can you do? What can you do?
Could throw her to the floor. Could throw her off the tower. Could punch her. Could choke. There's so many things he could do in that moment, but he just holds her. He just stands there.
Yeah.
She's not even fighting back. He just holds her.
Sure, it's fine. It's fine. It's just, you know what, they choreography wise, they didn't know what to do. She probably should have been being choked the entire time or something. But yeah, it's so this is a really crucial scene because one, the writers forgot that she has, you know, grappling hook, like cable ties stuff that she can use, and she's a Mandalorian. They forgot. They don't know. They don't know. You know, they remember they recorded the scene where they reference her being a Mandalorian and her family dying after all this is done. So it says they don't know. But for some reason, she can use the Force now. This is and this is important because this is the first time that she's used the Force the entire show. Mm-hmm. Right, like this is it. This is the first time she's done it. Yeah. And that's what bothered me. So I mentioned earlier that for a lot of scenes like this, whether it's Morgan suddenly, you know, being imbued with power and being the big bad, whether it's the alliance between, you know, the mothers and Thrawn, whether it's Ezra, you know, getting a lightsaber. Here, Sabine using the Force. There was no lead up to this, in the sense that we spoke about how typically when you have a show that's focused on a character who's meant to be growing as a character throughout the course of the season, you have these big moments where you build upon the character and they learn and they grow and they gain skills and then they kind of learn a little bit more about themselves. But there was none of that for Sabine in regards to her using the Force. For a lot of the season, like they kept emphasizing that like she doesn't know that she's very low when it comes to the Force abilities or anything like that, where she doesn't practice either, right? She doesn't practice, she's out of practice, that's why she's bad with a lightsaber, all this stuff. There were a couple of lines that were thrown in, if you recall, it was that retcon line where we missed it, we didn't talk about it, where the robot says that one of the reasons why Ahsoka stopped training Sabine is because she believes that Sabine, you know, might if she teaches her how to use the Force, then she's gonna use it for like bad intentions, right? So you would think that line would have a payoff, right? Like that line would have a payoff, and that you have Sabine maybe tampering with that side of herself to gain access to the Force, because when she says that, I got the impression that that's why she can't use the Force, because this is something that she has to explore first, like this side of herself and the whole like the vengeance about Mandalore, before being able to access anything Force related, and that's like a barrier that's like stopping her from getting there, and that's why Ahsoka didn't chose not to teach her anything. But they didn't do anything with that. Likewise, previously there was an opportunity to use Ezra, where Ezra, he's supposed to be nothing but Force user, and you could have him maybe teaching her how to use the Force ahead of time, before this, right? Where she starts to move things, and he's helping her like move things or something. But she goes from 0 to 100, right? She goes from literally doing nothing with the Force to bam, she grabs a lightsaber and then she does the whole jump thing, right? Like that's what I'm getting at, is that there was no rate of progression here. There was no like climbing, like there was nothing. It was just
it's actually bam, she just unlocked it. She just has it now.
Which is why I was getting at that the people that were writing the previous episodes didn't know that she was going to suddenly use the Force this episode. That's why there was no lead up, because they didn't know she was going to use it. Like that's why there was no setup. And then suddenly when they're writing this episode, they're just ramming everything, it's just jamming everything in, and suddenly they want her to use the Force here, even though it doesn't fit, because they were lacking the foundation of her using the Force previously. It's crazy.
You brought this to the scene, which I was.
We'll get to the jump scene. We'll get to.
Okay,
We're not
okay,
there yet.
I
We're not
got
there
it.
yet. We're not there yet.
Because you already said it, and I'm
I said
already
it.
sad.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you know what picture I chose for today.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence, the picture that I chose.
Uh-huh.
Okay, continue. Said we'll get to it, so we'll get to it.
Okay. I'm just still setting up that the idea that her suddenly doing this is a failing of the writing. They failed to properly lead the character to this moment and lead the audience with the character to this moment as well, right? There's so many options and opportunities that they could have used. If they wanted her to use the Force in the finale, then there's definitely moments where they could have had that kind of set up, and they just didn't, because of the lack of planning, the lack of foresight, lack of knowing that this is where she needs to end up in the final episode. And that's a shame. And to be fair, they didn't have to. If they really wanted to, she it would have been so much cooler. And this has been a big critique about Sabine this entire show, is that they could have gone full Mandalorian with it. They could have been like, you know what, I can't use the Force, fuck it. You know, she's got the helmet, she's got a jetpack. Have her have a jetpack in this scene as well. Have her have the full Mandalorian armor, and have her use those skills instead to be able to do things. And she can even help. Like, you can even get more creative with the Force jump scene where she actually flies and she's like, my jetpack can't take you all the way. I'm gonna like fly you part of the way, and then bam, you can Force jump off of me. Like, that's like you can achieve the same things with her using a different skill set and still make it work and still make things different and still even arguably make I would say not even arguably, you could just make for a better scene by having her behave and act in a different way. And they chose not to. They just wanted her to suddenly be able to be proficient with the Force.
By the way, that is something that happened in Rebels, where Sabine carried Ezra with her jetpack.
She did.
That did happen in Rebels.
Did happen.
I think he was lighter then, but sure, they could pull it off.
Yeah. It's because in Rebels they knew how to use the characters. It's crazy. They knew how to write characters. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
Apparently, it
is a lost. No, it truly is a lost art nowadays.
Yeah.
Like.
They forgot. Or the writers, they retired. They retired and then they're gone. They're done. I guess.
I have nothing else to add there. Because I'm just thinking about the jumps and like the whole ending sequence is what we talked about before. It's like the member base being like smacked into your face, like, hey, remember how Ezra always jumped and like they had this whole thing with Kanan? Well, Sabine can do that now, even though she couldn't 5 minutes ago.
Well, that's the thing, is
hey,
that
remember how the rebels would always have these wacky plans and they would like jump on a ship that they couldn't see? Yeah, let's make Ahsoka and Sabine do that now. Like that's what I felt like that entire time.
Well, it's talking about the Force jump. There's nothing wrong. And I would say they could even be done really well for them to have that scene of Sabine taking the role of Kanan or just another Force user and being Ezra's partner, and then being that in sync to be able to help each other, right? And to be able to assist each other in some way to get him to reach the ship. You can do that. But it requires setup, right? It requires the issue here isn't just that she didn't know how to use the Force until literally minutes earlier or even seconds before that event happens. That's part of the issue here. The other part of the issue is the fact that they never addressed the relationship. We mentioned in the previous episode how it felt hollow that they joined up again because there was no consequence of that. There was no big emotional moment, or there was no introspection, or there was no scene between the characters where they opened up to each other, where they can talk to each other, where they're around the same age, like they've both been through a bunch of trauma. Clearly, Sabine has been through a bunch of trauma as well, where she can open up to someone finally, where she's been closing herself off from everyone, where she said herself that like Ezra is like her only family left, which isn't true, but she said it, so like that has to mean something. But they didn't do anything with it, and they could have had all this set up. They could have had a closer bond and a closer connection between those characters, and then have them start to and then what should have happened here, you have that happen, and then you have the whole fight scene at the snail encampment, and that's where you have the opportunity to have the two of them start to have some chemistry fighting together, right? So you set up like the previous episode. So in that episode, you have them start fighting together. You know, she's got her guns, like he's got his lightsaber. He's got his force, and she has the lightsaber and guns. And they start fighting together, and they start cooperating, and they start having this chemistry like they used to back in the day, or even this new chemistry that they now have. And they start like, you know, like combo attacking or just working together in a more fun and more unique way. You have that setup, and then you can lead that into this final episode where they start doing that, and they even give some reference to Kanan. You can pull it off, you can get away with it. And again, I would say that in the previous episode, you'd have to set up her learning to slowly use the Force again, thanks to him. You could even do it that her finding him again after all these years, maybe that was like an internal like mental block that she had, and that was stopping her from being able to open herself up to the Force, because she intentionally closed herself off, because the only connection to the Force that she had was Ezra, and because he was gone, like she was actively like shying away from that because it just reminded her of him, and for all she knew, he was dead. Like she didn't know. And now that she knows that he's alive, and now that she's back, like you can write that's like the catalyst that allows her to use the Force again. Like you can, like that would be like an emotional and an important scene that you can have, and then you can make it all work. But they did nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, you could even tackle it from more technical point of view, when them both being students, like maybe like Ezra would just like talk to her about how the training looks like, and like they would figure out some things together.
Yeah,
like that's also possible.
You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Like you can do something.
Yeah.
You can do something. That's better than nothing. And we got nothing. We got nothing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Honestly, that specifically the jump scene just made me sad, because I know exactly what it's referencing, and it was supposed to be special, and for them to just throw it in like randomly, it's just.
Well, that's what I mean. If they wanted, I personally, I think they could have pulled it off. But as I said, it can't be out of nowhere. Like they needed to have set up them working together for episodes. Even one episode would not have been enough. But like you needed to have them creating that bond together, and not saying that she would replace him. And even then we spoke about the alternative of her using her jetpack and having another way to achieve the same thing. And maybe they didn't even have their own twist to it as well. Like they could do that. But like you need that setup. You need that foundation. That's the biggest issue that I have, at least, is that there was nothing. As you said, it just felt unearned. It felt unearned and disrespectful because of that, right? Like it just suddenly she did it, but like that doesn't give enough credit to like how it was set up before, or to what that means.
Yeah, especially because again, the reason why this was done in the past was because that is something that Ezra and Kanan worked up towards. Like that was their synergy. Like the reason why for those who aren't caught up on Rebels, like that was kind of the thing between Kanan and Ezra, that they were both very like non-standard fighters, to put it that way, as in like they had this like crazy ideas sometimes, and one of the things they figured out was the synchronized force jumping, to put it that way, where they would like each throw each other against over obstacles, and that was like the way to like make impossible travel possible, in certain situations. But the reason why it worked was because they literally trained it. Like that was like their thing, their technique that they perfected with each other, and they like synchronized. So for her to just like randomly do it on the first try, I don't know, it just felt weird.
Yeah, as I said, it was just unearned, right? It was just it just didn't fit. It just didn't fit given where the characters were, given the state of the story, like given it just didn't fit. So
see, on one hand it didn't fit. On the other, I don't even think she should be capable of that in the first place.
Sure.
Because it was a big achievement for her to grab a sword from the ground.
Yeah, obviously.
And suddenly she's throwing people.
Well, that's why we're saying. That's why I was saying that you have to build up to something like that, right? You have to have her using the Force beforehand, episodes beforehand, to build up to that. That's why I was saying that it was unearned, right? Because suddenly she could do everything there towards the end, and that it clashes with your internal perspective of what the characters are capable of and should be capable of, and what that means to the characters as well. So yeah, that was yeah, unfortunate, disappointing. It was bad. It was just a bad decision made. It's just yeah, was poorly done. And that leads us into the final fights. They kill Morgan. Morgan dies. Sabine came back for her.
Remember her name?
Yeah. I called her Morgan multiple times this episode. Thank you very much.
Yeah, actually, you did.
I have to work real hard.
Now that she's gone.
I keep wanting to call her Moth Espa.
Why Moth Espa?
That's her name. I didn't tell her what she's called. Okay, that's just her name. But so she ends up dying. Obviously Sabine comes back for Ahsoka. Once again, I mentioned that it happened. Sorry, I even glossed over it. I keep mentioning that like everything that Thrawn does, he fails at. Even before that, remember when they're making their way towards the tower, he's like rain hellfire down on them. Then he does, but they miss. Here as well, he's like shoot the tower to stop them. They do, and they don't kill them. Like it's just literally every single thing that he does, like he fails at. It's actually insane. Like nothing like tactically ever works for him. It's comically bad. There is one little moment that once again it's like a little like nugget of maybe they could do something with it, which is but it's just so little. Is when he orders them. If you notice, when he orders them to shoot the tower, the sisters, the mothers, they look at him. Did you notice that? Like
I did.
They look at him like what? But they don't say anything, and they don't do anything. That wasn't
part of the plan.
Yeah, but that's literally it though. It's that they get one reaction shot. So as a viewer, you understand that like they don't agree with that, and then that's it, and we just move on. So does that mean anything?
Yeah, they never mention it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like they don't vocalize any objection to it. Where I feel like if they want to do something with it, then they should, right? Like that'd be interesting if like he orders that and they express their desire to keep. I mean, hey, that's our tower. Like, what are you talking about? Then they have an argument, and then they don't shoot the tower. And then that's how they escape instead of them shooting the tower and then them escaping in the last moment. But like, there's like you could have had some interesting. You could have some interesting kind of like dynamic between and conflict between Thrawn and the mothers, but they just move on. And they just have a look, and that's it.
Or hear me out. They voice their concerns that like this is like the relics of the past, and how dare he like shoot them down, and he does it anyway.
Yeah. Like even that would be better than what we had, which is nothing. It's just a reaction shot. What's weird about the reaction shot is that the reaction shot tells us that it's like the writer's like, hey, we know that we could do something here. We don't. But we could have. It's like we could have put something interesting here. We chose not to though. It's like what? It's like what? Oh, no. It's like they acknowledged that they could have been an interesting scene. It's like they put like a timestamp here, like in the editing, and they forgot about it. They put a marker. They put a marker in the episode of like, hey, we're gonna have that reaction shot so we can come back to it and maybe like put something here. But they didn't. They just left the reaction shot. They left the marker.
And then the sisters are this alliance has been working out well. Thank you for destroying our past.
That's the moment where they name drop that it's an alliance. Yeah, that was the moment. Oh boy. And then they escape. They zoom away. Ahsoka and Sabine are stuck on the planets. We have Ezra on the ship with them as they escape. Then there's like a time skip, and suddenly Ezra is not on the ship anymore, and he apparently got away. Apparently that wasn't important or exciting enough to show on screen. It could have been exciting, like
I know, right? Ezra, an entire like cruiser of stormtroopers and like you know, general like
Kenobi?
he just went on the Imperial ship, just you know.
He like infiltrated the ship. He was able to get an escape and get away and somehow get out, and we just skipped through all of that like exciting adventure.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, just skipped it all.
He's not important.
We cut to the granddaughter. It's like, oh yeah, remember her? It's like, oh yeah, we
Yeah,
forgot about
remember
her.
her? Oh, yeah.
The entire season finale, we forgot
Kevin.
about her. We didn't even know her name. What's her name?
Kevin.
Kevin?
Yeah, because they left her. They forgot Kevin.
They forgot about Kevin, yes. So Kevin finds like the mercenaries, and she's with them, and cut to Lord Balin, and he's like on the Lord of the Rings statue.
I was gonna say, what is that statue about? And also, it looks like him.
Like kind of.
It kind of looks like him.
Like, and obviously they leave that ambiguous. But
yeah, like that was like such a clear like setup. Oh, you will find out in season 2, kind of thing.
Well, sure, but like what's disappointing about that is that you don't find out this season, and he's not a part of the finale. Like, I think we all assumed. We assumed that he would show up in the finale and help, right? Because you get the idea that he has his own plan, he has his own goal, and he might even be willing to help the protagonist if it means that he achieves his goal as well. So I think we were all in agreement that he should have some kind of presence in the finale, and he doesn't. Like in my mind,
no matter which side he's on,
yeah,
he should have some part in it.
Like in my mind, like you would have had, I almost said Mothess. What's her name? Morgan. You would have had Morgan. She's doing the 1v3, and have her be winning, right? Have her be that powerful because she's imbued by like the power of 1,000 mothers, and she's got like the Darth Maul saber, and she's just fucking him up. And you know, Sabine, she can't even use the Force. She can barely swing a lightsaber. She's just shooting. You know, you got Ezra, who's not using a lightsaber. He's just using the Force as well. You got Ahsoka, who's dual wielding, and they can't bring her down. And then bam, Lord Balin shows up with his granddaughter, and they help. They show up, they help, and they defeat her, and he might even help Ezra get onto the ship. Who knows? Like you can take the story however you want, but like it's kind of weird. It's shocking that they chose not to do anything with those two characters in the finale, despite them being a bigger part in the whole show, more so than being a more interesting part of the whole show than Morgan ever was.
The Morgan.
Yeah,
they were a bigger part of the show than Morgan, unironically.
Yeah,
like they had there was like a whole mystery plot like dedicated to
it was
them.
just more
like,
interesting.
Whatever
was happening, it was just more interesting than Morgan, and they chose not to use them. That's what's crazy to me. However they wanted to use them, like maybe you fight them, maybe you don't, maybe they help, maybe they don't. Like what? Like
they just didn't do anything with them.
They did nothing with them.
Like I thought there was like I thought there was something in the finale, like maybe like a tease of like, oh, this person is like gonna do that, but like we got nothing. It's like, oh, they're all on the planet. Cool. Like that's all we got about them.
I feel like I get the impression that they wrapped up filming. They wrapped up the show. Like that's a wrap. Everyone, let's go. Let's pack up. Homemate Steve the intern. He's like, guys, what about like Lord Balin comes out of his trailer, like he's all dressed up. He's like, okay, I'm ready to film. And they're like, wait. Your scenarios
are always the best.
We just finished the finale. We just wrapped up. We just you know, we have the Lord of the Rings statue in the back lot. We wheel it out. Intern, bring it. Get the wheelbarrow. We'll wheel it out. You can stand next to it, and we'll shoot you against a green screen. You can have a teaser for season 2. We got you. And then the granddaughter shows up. They're like, "Oh fuck!" she also comes out because they had to bleach her hair. It takes a while to bleach the hair and to put on all the makeup and everything. And she's ready for her scene. And she's like, "All right, we're gonna film the finale, right? I'm gonna have like a big moment where I'm gonna like remember how I had a scene with Ahsoka where she wanted to help me and I chose not to. Well, I'm gonna come and help her in the finale, right? I'm gonna save her. I'm gonna show that I can be like a good person." Am I gonna? Oh no, we're gonna have you. You're gonna ride in on like a CGI little thing, and you're gonna wave your lightsaber in the air.
Yeah, and you're gonna join the bandits because that makes sense.
You're gonna join the bandits, yeah.
You're part of the Tusken crew now.
Yeah.
Wait, they're not Tuskens.
No.
Legally distinct Tuskens.
No, you're part of the Kabuto Tusken crew. She says, what? Cut to black. We end. We'll wrap it up. That's a wrap. Yeah. There you go. They forgot.
I'm glad you pointed that out. It would be interesting if the granddaughter helped Ahsoka in the finale, but didn't join her.
I mean,
like it was, but like I want specific that it wasn't like from the good of her heart or anything, but like that their goals just happened to align. But she actually doesn't want anything to do with her.
No. I mean, that's just writing 101. That's like basic writing. You would assume is that you'd have some kind of payoff after you have that scene where Ahsoka like tries to save her or tries to help her in some way, and then she like they part ways, and then there should be like some kind of payoff for that. Like there's some kind of like resolution to that or some kind of follow up or something. So now they forgot.
I still do not know why Ahsoka offered her help in the first place.
I don't know either. I like remember the people that wrote that episode thought that there was going to be a follow up and they thought there was going to be a payoff. They didn't know that there was no plan. There was not in the script in the final episode in the season finale. They're shocked as well. They're like, "Well, what? Hold on, where's Lord Balin? Where's the guys? Did you forget? Did you forget about? No, we're filming. Okay, let's we're rolling already. Okay. We're gonna speed through the fun of the finale because there's no time to waste. Yeah, just gotta film, get it done, move on to the next
Season
show.
2 is already in the works.
Yeah.
Dave himself is writing it. So guys, wrap it up.
Oh fuck! Oh no. See, that's why season 1 was as bad as it was because old mate Dave. He was writing season 2. He's like, okay, you guys work on season 1. I have faith in you. I handpicked you as writers right out of school. You know, mid exam. You got this. I believe in you. May the force be with you. He leaves and writes season 2. Fuck. There you go.
I love that image in my head now. That he was just busy writing season 2, so he could not supervise season 1.
No, he couldn't do it. He just had faith in the team, you know? You gotta respect that. He had faith in the team. And now they're all fired. now they're all gone. I mean, we can only hope. We can only hope that they've all been fired and they will never work in a show like this again. At least not until they get more experience. Not until they graduate.
I was gonna say they can learn.
Yeah. Let them finish their writing courses first, okay? Before we pluck him out of school.
Oh no.
You know? I know we want some young talent, but like let him learn, let him graduate, let him get into university, and then we can get him. Then we can use him. So message to you, old mate Dave. Let him learn. Just like Sabine should have.
True.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's the show. That's the show in the end.
No, that's not the show. There's still one more scene.
True. So Ezra leaves. There's a time skip. You know, he somehow, was able to escape the cruiser and make it back to the rebellion base. And make it back to Hera.
Quick question. Why was Chopper the one to recognize him?
Because he smells like Ezra.
He's a droid.
Yeah. He's got smell receptors.
Does not have smell receptors. No, in fact, it is specifically said that the droids do not have smell receptors.
I would have you know, Kuro, it's been 10 years. Okay, in 10 years, they could have developed like a nose for Chopper. Oh, yeah. He's got his nose. You recognize him? Yeah. The real answer is that they want Chopper to be like a pet, like a dog sort of thing, where he's like an animal and he can like sense and understand.
Do you remember how much Chopper swears?
Yeah, no. The writers don't know that. They don't know that Chopper is meant to be an animal. and is not R2D2, and he's meant to be very abrasive.
Chopper is an animal.
Yeah,
Chopper is probably the most offensive droid in the entirety of Star Wars.
That's what makes Chopper Chopper. Chopper, we do not talk about Chopper at all this entire show. But yes, you're correct in the sense that they completely miscast Chopper.
You know what's my favorite screenshot? Let's just say it's straight up one shot of Chopper. My favorite shot of Chopper in the entirety of Rebels. It is Chopper with his legs up on one wheel that he has, riding around the hangar with 2 machine guns in his arms.
Yeah.
That's Chopper.
Chopper, yeah, he's an animal. He swears, he's abrasive. He has conflicts with other characters as well. Over time, of course, he ends up, getting a bond with them and getting closer and becoming friends, of course. But that takes time. Initially, he fucks with them. He fucks a lot with these characters.
He straight up destroyed the shuttle.
Yeah.
Because they annoyed him.
They did.
They annoyed him, and he broke the shuttle. And so, I believe somebody got stranded because of it. I think Hera and Sabine got stranded because of it.
Yeah. Again, the writers, they didn't get that far in the Wikipedia article. They only read Chopper, droid. They got the visual look of him. That's it. They moved on. Yeah. And again, old mate Dave, he was busy with season 2. He was not. He didn't notice.
Oh no.
He just had too much faith. Too much faith in these kids. But yeah, so Ezra he makes it back. We have a scene with Ezra, of course, coming in and hugging his mom.
He doesn't.
No, did he not? In my brain, he just ran up and hugged her.
No,
did my brain just fill in
a scene? Each other.
Did my brain just fill in a scene that they forgot to film?
Yes, you feel something that's not there. They just stand and look at each other. And that's the scene.
In my brain, see, when you're filming an emotional scene like that with 2 characters where they meet for the first time in a long time, you'd have something emotional between them where they come in and they hug and if you remember, I was expecting that out of Ezra meeting Sabine, but the writers they forgot that. So you'd think that they would do it here when he meets his mom for the first time in a long time, right?
I argue. I will argue with that you would actually, it would be more important between Ezra and Hera because Ezra was essentially adopted by Hera and Kanan, and they acted as his parents because he was 13 or something, and his parents were gone. We didn't know if they were alive or not, but they were gone, and he was just on his own. And basically, Kanan and Hera took him as their adoptive son. So not only is it important because they had this parent-child relationship, but also Hera now actually has her own child that is the child of Kanan, and that's also kind of important.
I forgot about old mate Jason. I forgot about him. He was even in the final scene. Was he even there?
No.
Did the writers forget about Jason?
No, because remember they were this was a random shuttle that didn't know who it is. So of course they had the general herself greet the random shuttle from the Empire.
So what you're saying is, yes, the writers of this episode forgot about Jason.
Yes.
If she's gonna be there, we may as well have Jason there too, right? I mean, I didn't.
Yeah, he would be hiding behind a crate.
No, you know what you would do? No, you know what you would do? That would make more sense, that you could actually have some fun with, actually. Chopper isn't the one that notices that the stormtrooper is Ezra, because as you said, it would make no sense that Chopper knows who that is. You would have Jason be the one. Have Jason be behind the crowd, because obviously it's a random stormtrooper and they've got their guns drawn. And because Jason has the Force, he recognizes, and he doesn't, obviously he's never met Ezra, but he recognizes the Force within Ezra, and he's the one that steps up and steps forward and greets him. And it's a little bit, it's a different dynamic because of course Ezra doesn't know who he is, but they both sense each other. He recognizes that he's friendly, face comes off, it's Ezra, emotional scene. It would make more sense if it was him instead of Chopper.
But that would be putting some lore that isn't there though, where Jason recognizes Ezra as something familiar, but he cannot tell why.
Yeah.
Because you would imagine that maybe Kanan imprinted on Ezra in some way, and he also didn't meet Kanan in this universe.
He didn't.
So he also doesn't know Kanan.
He doesn't.
But it would be familiar to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's you know what that is? That is the basic, obvious thing to do. It doesn't take a good writer to come up with that. We just came up with that just because that's the obvious thing to do. Because it makes more sense than a droid that doesn't have a nose. But they didn't do it because they forgot. They forgot that Jason exists because he was not in this episode at all.
Yeah, sometimes I would like to also forget that Jason exists.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, may as well use the character if you got him.
Yeah, for those, that's something we didn't mention on stream, but I was very upset about Hera having a kid in the first place.
Yeah.
Because of how the rebels finally became a thing.
Yeah.
But since they already have him,
you got him.
You know,
he's a kid actor. He can't cost that much. It's not a budgetary thing.
That's an interesting argument, but okay.
You can't afford to bring the kid in and then dye his hair. Like, it takes too much time to dye. We got to wrap up this scene. Well, you want to wait for the hair to dry after we dye it? Like, we don't got that much time. We're on the clock here.
CGI it.
CGI his hair. Just CGI it.
No, but there should be something more to this. Okay, no, listen. This reunion is supposed to be a huge thing, a huge thing.
Yeah.
So for it to just
it's so big that my brain just imagined that they hugged. That they didn't.
Yeah, you imagined there was something there, but there wasn't.
There was nothing there. I just Yeah,
all these people, they don't know that Hera is Ezra's mom.
No, they don't.
Actually.
No, they don't know. They don't know. The intern knows, by the way. The intern, I want to believe he knows. He probably knows. He's just got too much to do. He's had to remind them about so many things. He's got a whole book. He's got a whole book full of notes, and he's trying to rattle them off, and they just keep filming before he can say anything. He's like, guys, wait. I mean, do you remember? It's his mom. It's his. They.
Oh, they are done.
It's like, sorry, we got Hayden Christensen in. Like, we only have him for a day. Okay, we got to film his scene. We got to get him in the robe. We got to film him. So moving on. Yeah. Well, what can he do?
Yeah, what can
That's the final scene, by the way, is we confirm. And remember, I kept telling you there was a Force Ghost, and you're like, maybe it's not, maybe it's all in her head. Force Ghost, Anakin. Confirmed.
But what I was saying, that him being a Force Ghost makes even less sense. That's what I was saying. That what she was seeing seemed more like something from her memories than the actual Force Ghost.
I mean, from my understanding, it was both, right? It was that they were in her memories, but the ghost was in her memories as well.
No. But I mean after, because yes, you had the flashbacks to Clone Wars and stuff, but after when he becomes Vader and stuff, that seemed more like something that she imagined rather than him being at that point, right?
No, you could argue that that's him because it's all meant to be a lesson. Obviously, the lesson doesn't lead to anything because she doesn't learn anything. It's a bad lesson. It's a badly written lesson. But you could make it that's all intentional, just to teach her something. But I say something because they don't teach her anything, because they do nothing with the scene. But they could have done something with the scene, and they could have made it make sense, and they could have had her learn about. I mean, they could have even tied into Sabine, where he explains that just because of the way that I turned out doesn't mean that you're gonna be like this. You're better than this. You can be better than me. You don't have to learn the things that I learned. You can be better than that. You can learn and go your own way. That can mirror with Baylan, because Baylan's doing things his own way as well. He's not kind of following the mold of the Sith either. And then she learns that she can have some confidence in herself and her confidence in her ability to teach. And also that ties into the fact that she was afraid that Sabine was going to be like Anakin. And then suddenly she's like, you know what? you're right. Like just because there are some similarities, just because you told me doesn't mean we're going to be the same. Just because Sabine has some trauma and has things going on, she doesn't have to be the same either. And then she can
I mean,
move out of that and be more confident and have more purpose and step into a role of being a mentor for Sabine and actually go into that role. But they did nothing with it. So that's just.
I mean, we kind of touched on that again when we were talking about the Mandalorian, how she didn't want to teach Grogu for the very same reasons.
Yeah.
Like make it more her thing, where like she's just afraid of what happened before and she doesn't want to repeat that. That's why she's like always like withdrawing, because she doesn't want to go that way. And like like learn her to have that confidence that like no, it doesn't have to become the same thing.
Yeah, but there was literally no scene with her and Sabine talking about any of this or discussing any of this. Even though, as you said, they touched on it in the Mandalorian show with Grogu. They did a better job there, kind of showcasing why or that dynamic between Ahsoka and Grogu and why she would be adverse to teaching him and taking that role with him more so than her with Sabine. Like they didn't touch it at all. Like the only context you got as to why there was nothing between, or that there was no, or why there was conflict between Sabine and Ahsoka was the scene that was filmed after they finished the show with the
single
robot.
line from Puyang.
That single line which was inserted afterwards, and now you understand why, because they after they finished the show they realized, oh shit, we didn't write anything here about we didn't do anything about the dynamic between Ahsoka and Sabine at all. We should very quickly just write a line here and film it now, and we can edit it like in the beginning of the episode, just to have something addressing it. So that's what that scene is.
Yeah, because up to that point we never got any even tease about what it was about. It was just like, oh yeah, they trained, but again, they didn't train.
It also had no consequence either. Like we learned that finally, but it didn't really matter. That's why I'm saying that the only reason why it's there is because they decided to insert that later, just so they can address it in some way, even though it doesn't impact the show at all and the rest of the episode at all, because it was never there originally. Like it was inserted later after the fact. If it was meant to be impactful, then it would have been, and it would have played into the episode, but it didn't, because it was never originally there.
Mm-hmm. I just like that you have a book on it.
I have just a random book. Yeah, I just
for this. What even is it?
God, I don't even know. It's just a random book.
Okay.
It's got words in it. I didn't write it.
It's got words in it. Is it even in the English?
I'm doing my Dave Filoni impression here. It's got a bunch of words, and I didn't write any of it, but I'm going to approve it anyway, and I'm going to make a show.
Also, I mean, I guess this is not an issue. But at the time, before it was revealed to be Anakin, it kind of bothered me. Like that's the scene where I rolled my eyes really hard, because that was at the very end.
What, because Sabine noticed it?
No, where Sabine stands there. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, what is that? And Ahsoka's like, yeah, what do you see? It's like, nothing. I'm like, did you learn nothing? Because I thought the entirety of this show was Ahsoka and Sabine learning to trust each other and like becoming a master and apprentice. And the second like they have a moment of calm when they can talk about anything, she's like, no, nothing is happening, mom. Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, that final scene encapsulates the entire show, right? It's like, oh, you have a moment, you have a potential scene here between Ahsoka and Sabine where they can have a dialogue of some kind, and Sabine's like, oh no, don't worry about it. It was nothing. And then they just
you didn't learn anything this entire season.
Yeah, they just say nothing.
And I'm specifically happy on that. Like that's why I was like, please don't say nothing. Please don't say nothing. But like, I'm specifically referring to that because, again, I'm gonna call back to Rebels, because I will keep comparing this to Rebels, because as we said, this is supposed to be the continuation of Rebels. Another reason why the whole relationship between Kanan and Ezra is so interesting is that Ezra tells him everything for the most part. Like they have their own conflicts, but whenever, especially if something Force related is happening and Ezra doesn't understand it, he will tell Kanan what he's seeing, what he's feeling, and like he will ask him questions because he is afraid that he doesn't know or whatever. And like that's like a big thing, that like they have that trust between each other that he will tell him. And here, this is supposed like this entire season was supposed to be the drought between Sabine and Ahsoka, like learning to trust each other and actually rely on each other. And then they don't talk about anything. Like, really?
Yeah.
I will still say, but I will use this opportunity to mention, because again, we didn't review like the previous shows that we watched. My favorite scene about Kanan, Ezra, and the Force is them encountering Vader. Not because of Vader, but specifically because of what they say. Because they are like on the ship or something, and like Vader is somewhere like farther away, and Ezra just turns to Kanan and is like, "What is this feeling? I just feel cold."
Mhm.
And like he was just genuinely scared of what he was feeling, and he was asking, he was looking to Kanan for answers.
Yeah.
And I think that was like probably one of the best scenes about their relationship.
And there's nothing like that in this show between Sabine and Ahsoka. There's you do not get the impression at all that they're supposed to have like a kind of like teacher student dynamic or anything like that. Like there's nothing. There's no, like, at any point does Ahsoka ever teach Sabine anything this entire show? Like, yeah.
She brings her a cup and tells her to use the Force on it.
I think that's it, because I'm thinking there was one lightsaber training scene, but Ahsoka wasn't a part of it. Remember, she was doing it herself. She was doing it herself.
No,
and
she was doing it herself, but Ahsoka told Huyang to like do some other form, and Huyang protested.
Yeah. But like Ahsoka wasn't like a part of that. She wasn't like
No, she was
instructing or sparring or anything like that. That's kind of, isn't that kind of weird? There was no sparring scene between Ahsoka and Sabine. Was there a sparring scene? Am I crazy? No,
there wasn't. No, there was.
There was, right?
Quote unquote sparring scene. You remember when she put the helmet on her and taught her to fight without her eyes?
Yeah.
That was the scene.
What was the payoff for that? Remember how she's basically trying to get her to use the Force to like sense where something is, so you can use the Force, so you don't have to rely on your senses. What was the payoff for that? There was none.
You got anything?
No, there was none. There was no payoff. There was a reference to that. I think it was the same episode. Remember where we're in the ship. We spoke about it internally. We didn't record it. Where they're in the ship and she's like, shoot and like feel instead of using your eyes or something. Where she can't like shoot the fighters that are chasing them. That's a reference to that. But like it still doesn't happen. At no point is there any kind of payoff where she like learns to use the Force and uses that to heighten her senses to be able to overcome some kind of obstacle in some way or some kind of adversary in some way. So like typically in storytelling, if you have like a training scene like that, or if you have a scene where you're trying to teach someone something, the point is that eventually they learn that thing in the story that you're telling, and then they can use that later on, right? There's like setup and payoff. That's usually something that you do in a story. There's nothing like that here. There is no setup and payoff. There's just things happen.
Yeah, that's I said that before, but that's kind of my summary of this and a few other shows as well. But this specifically, where things just happen, but they don't feel like, it doesn't feel like any of them is building to anything, building up to anything. Like the events happen, the interactions happen, but they don't seem to really have consequences, or they don't seem to change anything. Like the events just happen.
Yeah.
And as you said, and as we said, like after all of these things that happened, has the dynamic between Ahsoka and Sabine changed? Well, I guess Ahsoka is not mad at her anymore, but that's really all that changed here.
There wasn't even any confrontation about Sabine going with the Empire. Like when they met up again, like there was no confrontation about that. Like I think Ahsoka said one thing. She's like, "Oh, I guess it worked out."
Yeah, she was. I guess it worked out. And Sabine's like, "So you're not mad at me? That's it.
That's it. That is it." What? Like what? There was no consequence. There was no, not even no consequence, but there was just no
No reflection.
No reflection,
No.
no just addressment of what happened. Like there's just nothing. There's just nothing there. It's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
They
crazy.
don't talk about it. She's not like, okay, but for next time, this is like, things you should consider. Like, there's nothing.
She doesn't express whether what she did was good or bad, or like, no, they just
Yeah,
move
it's like,
on.
I guess it worked out, whatever.
They just got to get to the next scene. Like this, this is like one of the worst written shows like I've seen in modern time. Like, I guess I just stay away from bad shows. Like there are worse shows out there, I'm sure, 100%. But like, this is why I mentioned this. This comes back to the very beginning of this review that we spoke about, where like it's just like this whole thing was shocking, just how poorly everything was done, considering how much money there is behind it. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like the basic fundamentals are missing. They're missing in this show. And it's not like there are other shows in the same franchise that do it well, that they can't fall back on. Like there's a Mandalorian, which Mandalorian has its issues, of course, but it's a constructed narrative with characters. Even the Obi-Wan show we spoke about, when it comes to how they treat Obi-Wan, at least for me, even Book of Boba Fett, like what's his name, Fennec Shan, like like I don't,
Yeah.
like there's some redeeming qualities in some of these other shows, but this has nothing. There's nothing here. Like there's Lord Balin, that's it. But even then, like there's no payoff there either. Is the issue, I would say, is that it's like this.
Yeah.
Hey, there's something interesting about this character. Let's move on. let's not address exactly that. What it is. It's like, what?
Figure it out. But like, that you mentioned it, like, again, we watched Obi-Wan, and like, sure, I don't think it's a good show, but like, yeah, there were some nice character moments with Obi-Wan. We watched the Book of Boba Fett, which, as you said before, like, that was a clown fiesta of a show.
Boba Fett's he's a literal clown in his own show. He's an actual clown.
Yeah. But and like, apparently the actor expressed it as well, that he didn't like the portrayal of the character that he was told.
Yeah. The actor knows that he was a clown in that show. He knows.
he's aware. But still, like, with all of its faults, like the whole like plot line with the Tuskens, like, we actually enjoy it. Like, it was actually interesting, and like, genuinely, like, we liked that part. So like, there is something that was interesting in the show. Where here in Ahsoka, I'm trying to think of like a part that I liked. It's like, well, Balin was cool, but they didn't do anything with him.
That's it. It's just
it's
Balin.
Like, Hera was not good, Ahsoka was not good, Sabine was not good. Ezra has a nice actor, but like, they literally did nothing.
They didn't do anything with him.
Abilities or personality.
They didn't know what to do with him. Remember, they were like, "Oh, like, does he use the Force only? Maybe. Oh, no, actually, he's gonna use light." Like, they didn't know what to do with him. They didn't know, and they did nothing with him in the end. Like, as in character wise, they didn't do anything with him.
You have Captain Teva without Zeb for some reason.
Who?
Oh yeah. I wanted to talk to you about this. This is what I was trying to remember. So I told you I was reading this like comment on episode 5, and somebody wrote like, "Why is this happening? Like, what does this mean?" Like basically they were echoing our sentiments about episode 5, about the flashback episode, the memory one. And you know what the response to the top voted comment to that was? Okay, Captain Teva. Do you remember who that is?
No, who is that?
That's the guy in the X-Wing. The older guy in the X-Wing, the one who was serving with Zeb. Okay. And what happened was, remember when Hera went on the mission, when they were like doing the whole thing, and Hera was supposed to be brought back by the army, by the fleet of the New Republic, and he was supposed to stall for time so they could do the whole whale thing. And like, the commander, whatever the rank was, the person from the New Republic was saying that like, you should like bring us like General Syndulla right now, because XYZ, and like, she had this whole thing, and the response of the guy from the X-Wing was, okay, and they cut to the next scene. I just like that as a response to like everything that's happened, like explosions, this, like, okay.
Okay. I'll be honest, I wiped all of that from my memory. I have no idea what you're talking about, but sure, I'll take your word for it.
I remembered it because that's when they reached such a level where I think I just laughed. It was like, okay.
But with that, again, the final scene, of course, is they reveal that Anakin's Force Ghost is on the planet with them. Whether that confirms or not whether the previous experience that Ahsoka had was actually again Anakin's Force Ghost. My assumption was always that it was his Force Ghost, but they might touch on this next season, right? There's going to be season 2 of the show, and I'm sure because they revealed his ghost here, that there's going to be some kind of like interactions between all of them, and maybe some reflection and all that good stuff.
Maybe they will actually do what you said before for this season, where they will actually have Ahsoka talk to Anakin.
I would assume so, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can go nowhere but up, right? I mean, actually, you could plateau. I would say you could technically we could just plateau from here, and we can just there can be no improvement from this point forward. I don't know if they can get worse from here.
Should I remind you of our Stormblood streams? How every time you'll be like, well, they can only go up from here, and then they kept digging.
True. They could just keep digging here and actually just destroy the characters that they've made. We'll see. I mean, I'm not too optimistic about season 2 based on what happened here, but at the same time, you could argue that maybe the writers and the creators of the show are listening to feedback and they're willing to incorporate that. Obviously, not our feedback; like we are very late to the party here, and it does kind of depend on what the consensus was on this show. I don't know. Like I haven't. I've been staying away from any kind of any reactions, any responses from the community in regards to this. I know that there was a lot of excitement about the show initially when it came out, but I don't know what the reception was. I think on IMDb this is like a 7 out of 10 or something. I don't know. So I think a decent chunk of people probably do enjoy it. As we mentioned, like the moment that you start using your brain, like none of this makes sense, and it's actually the worst thing out there. But I'm sure there's a bunch of people that watch this and enjoy it that don't use their brain, and they just they clap at the lightsaber, and they're like, isn't it cool that Ezra's using a lightsaber again? Oh, isn't it cool that that he jumped across to the ship? Isn't it cool that that Ahsoka and Sabine never spoke about anything? I'm sure there's people that just put this on in the background, they just enjoy it for what it is, and they don't think anything of it. But it's a little bit different enough for us because we actually enjoy these characters ahead of time. Like we enjoyed Rebels, like we grew an attachment to these characters in some way. We wanted them to be represented well in live action, and I would say that they failed to do so. And again, I think I can with confidence say that this is the worst Star Wars show that I've seen so far. Obviously, there are bad movies out there as well. That is true. And again, like we haven't, and we're not going to be watching like Acolyte or some of the other shows that don't really spark our interest, especially with the reception of them and what they entail. But yeah, this was shocking. This was crazy. This was a shocking experience. Like that's what I had to say about this.
The experience was so shocking that Lai decided to record his thoughts because he needed them to be heard.
I needed them to be heard. I needed to be heard because no shot there are people that enjoy this. Like no shot. Like I can't.
Yeah.
No shot there. Any.
I mean, I don't want to like insult people either. Like as you said, maybe they just like watching,
they just put it on
like,
the background. You know, they're gonna like go to the gym and then put on some Star Wars and take it for what it is. Like yeah, for sure, I get it. Like it's you can enjoy and consume media in different ways, or there are some people that like that again that they don't watch Rebels, that don't necessarily care too much about the characters themselves. So like their expectations can be different.
Or they can just be watching, like maybe they just want to just enjoy things without thinking about them too much.
Yeah, I mean there are people that do that as well, for sure. Like that's a thing. Like popcorn
this
movies
is entertainment
as well.
in the end,
Yeah, where they just want to escape from stuff. For sure. Yeah, it's crazy.
We just get a bit too intense about characters we enjoy.
No, I would disagree with that.
We want
no,
to.
this is like basic level stuff. Like, no, I firmly disagrry. I said it before. Like, what we're seeing here is below average. This is like below high school level writing. Like, this is crazy. Like, I that's why I said this is shocking. Like, no, I would push back hard against that. Like, the most basic stuff here was missed. Like we're not expert writers in any way, shape, or form. And again, like, as I mentioned before, like, a big part of this does feel like it's just a planning thing. Like things were never planned or thought out ahead of time, and it feels very apparent for this show.
Yeah, that particularly, like, again, this episode like truly showcased some of those things where they seem out of nowhere for a lot of them, or straight up contradicting.
Yeah, it's just a mess. It's just a mess of a show. It's crazy. It's crazy because this is a criticism that Star Wars has already received regarding the movie sequel trilogy. So you'd think that they would like learn from that. You'd think? No. No, not for this show at least. Not for this show. Who needs to plan ahead of time? Who needs to know how a story ends? Like, now you just start writing. You just start filming. Just start filming before you even know where the story's going. That's what happened here. They were filming before they knew how the story was going to end. And there's the problem with that. There's a problem with doing that.
Yeah. I still don't know what this story has achieved.
It's brought back characters, right? It brought back Thrawn. So Thrawn's in the universe. Right, we didn't even get to talk about it. They showed up at Dathomir and they brought all the, I'm assuming, dead bodies. I'm assuming to bring them back to life and bring back the witches of Dathomir. Whether or not there's any kind of
the witches of Dathomir that were on Dathomir.
Whether or not there's going to be like any double crossing or anyone deceives anyone, like it's ambiguous. They can write it however they want. They could or they could not. Like, it just depends on what the writers decide for season 2. They could do something interesting with it. They could not. We'll see.
By the way, this kind of brings me back to what I was saying from the beginning about me not liking Morgan being a witch of Dathomir. They were called the witches of Dathomir because they were from Dathomir. Has anybody told them that?
No. The intern missed that one. He missed. He didn't think he needed to. He didn't think he needed to Wikipedia the witches of Dathomir to let him know that they call that because they're from Dathomir. He didn't think he needed to do that for the writers. Like, he didn't think he needed to correct them on that because it's obvious. Only Steve. He'll take the L on that one. He'll take the.
Poor Steve. Needs a raise.
Just thought too highly of the writers.
Yeah, but that's something that bothered me from the beginning. But like, she can still be a witch. Don't get me wrong. But like, specifically name dropping Dathomir makes it look silly because there are no witches of Dathomir because they were killed on Dathomir, unless they escaped. But they wouldn't be in a different galaxy.
You get the impression that these witches are different. These are like the originators. Like this is like the origin of. They said it themselves, right? They said that this is where the witches Dathomir originated from because it was from a different galaxy, and they came from this place. It's like the origin place of that. So they should be the witches of Galaxy X, wherever they're called.
Yeah, instead. But they shouldn't be called witches of Dathomir.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Yep. Yeah. True. Not wrong. Not wrong. So, Kuro, when it comes to your image that you're using right now, are you Hera or are you Kanan?
Kanan. Definitely Kanan. In that image.
Yes, I agree.
Hera is just like relaying the information about what happened in the episode and just like sinking farther and farther down.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess going back to what you said at the beginning of the episode, the one good thing is that we're done. We made it. We survived Ahsoka season 1. We wrapped up the show. We can officially say that we have experienced Ahsoka, and we are worse off for it. We're worse off. Yes. Are you better off?
What? I don't know if I would say better. Better is not the word that I would use.
Okay.
But I will say that it has definitely fueled my
True.
desire to write fan-fiction.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. In a way, I'm gonna fix this way.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. I don't think it's hard. Like, I don't think it's hard to rewrite this show and to tell a better story. It just kind of depends on what kind of story you want to tell.
Oh no, I wouldn't rewrite this show. They don't get that treatment. But I said before that I wanted to rewrite the ending of Rebels and take it a different direction.
Yeah, so
because they mentioned we talked about these things, like you could explore stuff like the Night of the Thousand Tears and stuff like that. You could explore that kind of thing.
You could
and actually write about it.
You could expand on that from a different perspective, from the perspective of someone that survived it. Was Sabine there? Was she not there? Like, you can there's a lot to explore. But not in this show. No, not in this show. With that, Kuro, what's your final ratings for Ahsoka season 1?
I do not give ratings.
What are your final thoughts on Ahsoka season 1?
This was the most nothing show I watched. There you go. That's pretty much, like, I don't feel like the story has progressed. It feels like we're about, like, except for, like, this person is now in this place and like stuff like that. It doesn't feel like the situation, like the general situation, especially for the characters, is vastly different from the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I think I said so, I think it was either last episode or the episode before that, but I said that the show was very shallow, and it is. It's a very, like, there's a very shallow show. Like, there's no depth to it. There's no character growth, character developments. The only things that have happened, of course, is that some characters have been reintroduced into the universe of Star Wars. So, like, Thrawn is back, Ezra is back. Jason is born and is 10 years old now. They've like set certain characters up in the universe to be used at some point, but that's really all that's happened here. The Balin is out there. Balin's granddaughter is out there. I guess we lost Morgan, but they've just kind of like, outside of that, like, nothing meaningful has happened.
Yeah, like, they put some people in certain places and like oh yeah, like, Thrawn is back and this is it, and like Ahsoka and Sabine are gone apparently because they have no way back. So they moved people around, but it doesn't feel like the characters themselves progress. It doesn't feel like the situation changed that much.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they did because they didn't.
Yeah, and but, like, also, like, because, like, the whole Empire thing wasn't actually investigated in the show either, so that didn't progress.
Yep.
So it just didn't feel like the story progressed in any direction.
Yeah. It's a very empty show. It's a very empty show, and it's disappointing, I would say, as well. Like, it isn't. I don't know if I would say it's nothing, because it's disappointing that they use these characters and I would say, wasted these characters. Right? They wasted the opportunity to tell a good story. To be able to reintroduce these characters into a live action setting, in that sense, it is a disappointment.
I agree that it is a waste of character, because as you said, like, it's clear that the show has a decent budget because it looks fine.
Yeah.
Some of the character portrayals are also pretty fine, like, in terms of, like, just acting, visual, and so on and so forth. So, like, people put work into this, but the writing didn't keep up.
Yeah.
With the quality of
there was just no writing. Until they just plucked some people out of school, and they didn't even graduate. They had them write these scenes. There was no, like, cohesive, like, narrative being told. Like, again, it was just poorly planned from the beginning. And hopefully they are able to have a better showing in season 2, because the reality is that we know that that's happening. Season 2 is happening. Season 2 is on the horizon. We'll watch it. I'm sure Kuro's elated. We'll watch it when it comes out. May as well. We got to see where whether they keep on digging or whether they see the light. We'll see, because they could turn it around. It could be good. Maybe we'll see.
Can it though? Because
yeah.
I was gonna say that.
Old mate Dave, he's been working on season 2 for 3 years. Like he's been slaving away.
Seriously though, I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I was also gonna say, like, I was like, hey, maybe, they start like because they have this whole like stranded in another galaxy thing. They're gonna work, from the beginning. They're gonna start small, and they're actually gonna flesh out these characters and give them a good story and everything. But then I remembered that they already ruined all these characters.
Mm-hmm.
That they already not themselves.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like, the hope of them like riding the ship and starting to flesh these characters out and give them time to breathe and working on the story as well. Like, the issue with that is that now they've morphed these characters into something that they weren't before. For me, Sabine is still the big one, right? Where Sabine is very different to what she once was, and they've made her into their own, like, abomination of a character. Like, she is now their own creation, of someone who wants to be more Jedi-like and all this stuff. Ezra is still, because they did nothing with him, like, they can still have him be the same as he once was. Like, Hera's different. Like, they have Jason to focus on. Like, it's one of those things where these, as you said, like, these characters are they're no longer the Rebels characters, but in a negative way. Like, they're, yeah.
Yeah, so even if the writing improves, like, those are still not the same characters. They're not building up from the same fundamentals that they already had.
Yeah. I would say that it means that they need to work even harder to kind of win you over, on these characters and their portrayal. And I don't think it's impossible, but it's going to be more difficult for sure, for them to make these characters into people that we care about and people that we want to follow their story of. So, best of luck. Best of luck to old mate Dave. He's been working on this for 3 years now, so hopefully he's able to learn from whatever the hell this was.
Steve, you better keep him in check, because
yeah, Steve, I need you to be on that Wikipedia page, and I need you to open up Disney Plus and watch Rebels. I need you to lock in, okay? Because without you, who do they got? Who do they have? Who's going to tell them what to do? Dave? No, he's working on season 4. He skipped season 3.
Oh, no.
He's already working on season 4, mate. It's too late. He's gone.
Ooh.
He's gone. So someone's going to be there to help out, to let the writers know what they're missing, and to tell them about the characters. So lock in, Steve. We're done. We're wrapping up. This is a 3-hour conversation. That's crazy. This is a 30-minute episode, 40-minute episode, 35 minutes into 3 hours of content. That's crazy.
But the good news is, the next show we watch should hopefully be actually good.
True. As a tease for the people, what do you want to watch next, Kuro? Bad Batch season 2 or more?
I'm gonna say, as much as I want to say more, I'm gonna say Bad Batch, just because I rewatched the entirety of first season just to watch season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do that before I have to rewatch it again.
Okay. So there you go. We have confirmation. Up next, we are going to be diving into the Bad Batch season 2. That is an animated show. We did enjoy season 1, had its issues, but for the most part, we did enjoy it far more than whatever the hell this was. And
yes, I just want to say that we're not always complaining, that we actually genuinely like Bad Batch, because it does, again, it does exactly what I was talking about before. It explores the characters, the interactions between them, the relations. They literally have like this one of the main characters literally like learns how to talk to a kid who is his sister / whatever cousin, what do you want to call it, because they're all clones. Like, there's a whole thing about it where, like, they learn to to find a place in the world that is happening right at the beginning of the Empire.
Yep, and I would also push against the framing of us complaining about things, just because that also kind of implies that we're maybe upset about something that doesn't deserve to be criticized or spoken about in a negative way. I would say that we were being fair in our critique, and if something is good, then we would talk about it, we would bring it up, and we would enjoy it. It's on the medium itself to kind of bring that to the table here. And as Kuro was saying, The Bad Batch is something that we enjoyed and we have higher expectations of. And I don't think there's I mean, compared to this, I feel like this is like the bottom of the barrel, you know? Like I feel I can't see a world where The Bad Batch stoops down to the level of Ahsoka season 1. No shot.
It has to be good.
No shot.
That first season was
even if it isn't good, it's gonna be better than this. Okay, I'm gonna say that right now. It's easy. Easily, it's gonna be better than this.
Why do you have to say that? You know what's gonna happen?
I'm confident.
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be like season 3 Rebels.
Oh no!
Where suddenly all the writing.
Suddenly space cows.
Suddenly space goat.
Oh no! All right, with that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, do try to, if you wish, you can watch alongside us. Up next, Bad Batch Season 2. Going to be jumping in. We already watched Season 1 when it first came out. So we just never got into Season 2. Never got around to it. Now we finally can. Otherwise, Kuro, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the evening?
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys next time for Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2. We'll see you next time. Ciao.
Bye.